Steel boots stomping, crashing the floor. Two wild Yinzers kicking through the door. Loud like a jag off at a pins game fight. Brace yourself, this ride ain't polite. Two Dum Yinzers, loud and proud. Heads in the clouds, voices in the crowd. Chaos brewing, they don't play nice. Hold on to your iron and grab your prime anti-slice. Tales from the burg with a hint of mayhem. Pierogi powered, nothing can constrain them. Knocking back stories like an icy cold brew. You never know what these two might spew. Two Dum Yinzers, loud and proud. Heads in the clouds, voices in the crowd. Chaos brewing, they don't play nice. Hold on to your iron and grab your prime anti-slice. From the bug with a hint of mayhem. Pierogi powered, nothing can constrain them. Knocking back stories like an icy cold brew. You never know what these two might spew. Two Dum Yinzers, loud and proud. Heads in the clouds, voices in the crowd. Chaos brewing, they don't play nice. Hold on to your iron and grab your prime anti-slice. Rivers collide where the laughs always flow. Black and gold thunder everywhere they go. The madcap kings breaking every mold. With two Dum Yinzers, the stories don't get old. Two Dum Yinzers, loud and proud. Heads in the clouds, voices in the crowd. Chaos brewing, they don't play nice. Hold on to your iron and grab your prime anti-slice.
Yeah, welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to the show. This is episode 857 of the Two Dum Yinzers. I want to say to everybody this morning, welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. Glad to see everybody today. Hope everybody's doing well and hope everybody had a safe weekend. A lot to get into today. A lot of sports went down in Pittsburgh over the weekend. Some good, some bad, some ugly. We're going to get into it all today. First off, I do want to say congratulations to all the WPIAL teams that are advancing in high school football to the state playoffs, two of which were already in the state playoffs because of the number of teams in the class, 4 winning their games at Acrisure Stadium on Saturday to claim their WPIAL championship and are on their way to the state playoffs. These are the teams. Aliquippa, they win on Friday night 28-6 over Oil City. They advance to the semifinals in the state playoffs. Central Catholic 42, State College 21-6A. Central Catholics, they advance as well. And these 4 teams win on Saturday at Acrisure Stadium. They win WPIAL Gold on their way to the state playoffs, which start this week for them. In single A, it was Avonworth 30, Amani 6. 2A, Seton LaSalle 21, Steel Valley 14. Single A, Clareton 8, Laurel 6. And finally in 5A, it was Peters Township 20, Pine Richland 19. Congratulations to all those teams and good luck moving forward into the state playoffs. I think it's going to be a good year for the Western Pennsylvania squads. Got a few teams looking really good in there. So I do want to say to them, good luck, good luck to you. Congratulations thus far. A lot of stuff to get into today, guys. As I said, there was the good, the bad, and the ugly here in our Pittsburgh sports over the weekend. But first, I do want to say good morning to everybody. Great seeing everybody on the board. Bright and early today, I do want to say hello to everyone. I want to say hi to Corey, or Cody, I'm sorry, Tortilla, Bingo, Lindsay, Phil, Yinzer Joe, everybody, good morning and welcome to the show. Glad to see everybody back. Welcome back. I'll be getting to the board in just a moment. Let's start with some, I don't know, what do you guys want to talk about? Pittsburgh Steelers, maybe? The Steelers team, guys, one step forward, two steps back was the way that I would explain that game in a lot of ways yesterday. We made good plays, but every time we did something brought us back. And here's the thing: I don't usually I don't listen. I don't usually complain about officiating. I swear I don't. But is it just me, or is the officiating really, really, really bad lately? I mean, really bad. And before I get accused of blaming it on the officials, which I'm not, I'm going to get into entirely today what the reasoning is, but I just got to say, the officiating is really bad. For one, the Metcalf, the interception on the sideline. Metcalf was literally standing with his foot on the out of bounds line, and his hand was touching the ball as it was being exchanged between him and the DB that made the interception. Thus far, if we learned anything from this football season so far, is if any part of a player is out of bounds and that part of that body, the part of that player touches the ball is dead. However, that wasn't the case in this particular case. DK Metcalf did touch the ball as it was bobbling in the guy's hand when it was coming from up to down. That was allowed to be an interception. Also, when Rudolph fumbled the ball, his ass hit the ground. As he hit the ground, ball popped out. And did anybody know? And listen, and I'm not going to go on and on and on about this call. The only thing I'm going to go on and on and on about is the fact that they replay everything 50,000 times, except for things like this. They did a quick replay, right to commercial, never went back to it. Not even the conversation of, look, was it even close? No. So again, I'm not blaming referees. And I think that's for the most part, a terrible thing to do. But at the end of the day, the calls were terrible. and listen, there was just as many. Maybe I think there was actually more called on the other team. So for this reason, I'm not going to complain all day about officiating. But those two plays alone, if the NFL don't start paying attention, because listen, New York sees everything. Why these calls again? No transparency on the fumble. I would have loved to seen a replay just to see where his ass was compared to where the ball was coming out, which of course I don't think is a too much of a question to ask. And again, when it went against us earlier this year, once somebody's touching out of bounds and they touch the ball is dead. And that also was another play that, again, it shouldn't have been. But at the end of the day, we didn't go out and do enough to win this football game. They got called for just as many penalties, I think a little bit more actually than us. So I'm not complaining about that. I'm just complaining about it. But I do want to say to everybody, good morning, welcome back. I really feel that the theme of the game yesterday was the fact that the Bears had no linebackers. They came into the game and their top 3 or 4 linebackers were out. They showed the graphic of the linebackers that were playing, and they were rookies, and they all had a combined of like 6 tackles on the year. And then they kept getting hurt throughout the course of the game. They were literally down to practice squad guys and peanut salesmen playing linebacker in Chicago. Yet we still couldn't do enough to get it done. A couple early injury. The scoop on the injuries is this. JPJ left the game with a hip. DK left the game with an ankle but did return. And of course, Broderick Jones with stingers. Not much more explained on top of that. Just stingers. Of course, we lose pole position in the division to the Ravens by losing this game. We fall into a 6-5 tie with them, but ultimately they have the tiebreaker because their division record is the same or is better. They are 2-0 in the division. We are 2-1. This puts Baltimore at the top. And just wasn't that long ago, I could swear everybody was saying this Baltimore team is done. This is the 4th loss in 6 games for the Pittsburgh Steelers. I guess the best way not to lose in January is not to make it to January. Let's hope that that's not the case, guys. But here we are. The division looks like this: the Baltimore Ravens 6-5, the Steelers 6-5, the Bengals 3-8, the Cleveland Browns 2-8. We got a lot of stuff to get into today as the Buffalo Bills are coming to town on Sunday. Steelers are already 4.5-point home dogs in this game in Week 13 against the Buffalo Bills. And I know that this is going to be an angry Bills team as they just got beat last week on Thursday night to the Houston Texans. I'm sorry. So this is going to be a team that comes ready to play on Sunday. Just keep this in mind. This is not a team that's down and out. Even Chiefs, we thought these guys were down and out. They end up beating Indianapolis. So say what you will. Either say that this Indianapolis team ain't that good, then admit that we weren't that good and we beat them, or say that Indianapolis is good and say that the Colts or the Chiefs are good enough to get back in this. One step forward, two steps back all day. Good plays taken away. Give the good plays take away. Touchdown, holding on Metcalf. All day long. We couldn't catch a break, it didn't seem like. Again, I don't want to blame it on officials, but this was a totally winnable game for the Steelers, and it could have been won by the Pittsburgh Steelers. A lot of things to get into today, some storylines, some headlines. I do want to say this before I get to the board. We do want to congratulate TJ Watt as he does pass his brother, guys, for all time on the sacks list. I'm sure you've seen it 10 million times on the game yesterday. TJ Watt passes his brother, JJ, for all-time sacks between the two of them and their family. So good on him. A lot of stuff to get into, guys. Let me get to the board. Good morning, good afternoon, whatever it may be where you are. Good morning to you. Cody says this. He says, ha, 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 Ryan, we suck. Tortilla says, same, but different. Cody says, but still the same. Tortilla says, the Sacramento Steelers. Bingo says this. I do want to say good morning to Bingo. Good afternoon, Bingo. And Bingo says, here's what's happening. Ready? This might sting. We're a bad team. When we beat good teams, it's because we're a trap game. They're looking past us because we're a joke. Sorry. Lindsay, do want to say good afternoon to you. Welcome to the board. Always great seeing Lindsay on the board. Cody said Matt Canada dressed up as Arthur Smith. Tortilla, why did the chicken cross the road? Because Darius Slay was covering him. And that chicken got a touchdown, I guarantee it. Excuse me. Bingo says, noise. Cody says, or maybe Tomlin stole Matt Canada's playbook like the coach on Waterboy. Feel the steal. What's up, dude? He says, rooted all week for the stash. All freaking week, and he flopped 14 points to the Birds because of the stash turnovers. Darn it. Stash. So is he still the answer, guys? I'm not being a dick. I'm just saying. The people that felt confident last week about him, do we still feel confident moving forward? Do we still feel confident against him, with him against the Bills? Do we still feel confident with him against Baltimore? Mike Tomlin did come out and say he does expect Aaron Rodgers to play versus the Bills. So let's continue on. Yinzer Joe, what's up, bro? Always great seeing my man Yinzer Joe. He says, told everyone before Sunday Mason Rudolph wasn't going to do well or win the game. Bingo says he doesn't fake, he thinks about fake. Cody says Rudolph is ass. Cody says nice 2-yard passes on a 2-minute drive. And granted, listen, Aaron doesn't have all the ability that he used to have. He doesn't have the strength. He doesn't have the arm, but he has the decision making. And more times than not, I trust his decision making over a career backup. Call me crazy, which might have been the argument last week. But again, we are in this week, and it's Bills week, and it's a whole different kind of week. Bills week and Bears week are two different kind of weeks. Again, I expect the Bills to be angry. Again, after taking the L to the Houston Texans last week. RB, what's up, bro? He says, anybody ready to discuss the Tomlin sucks ass? There's third highest rushing team, and he's a nickel at the 3, same old BS game plan. Tomlin plays games not to lose, not to win. Feel the steal. Phil the Steel says, but we all know the real problem. We all know what the real problem is. Steelers coaches suck. Tomlin says, and then when it's 3rd and 2, he throws a deep ball. Right, Tortilla? What the fuck is that? You literally throw 2 yards all game long until you need 2 yards. When you need 7 yards, they throw 2. When you need 11 yards, we throw 2. When you need 17 yards, we throw 2. We need 2, we throw 30. This, come on. You know what we need? Cody says we need another 2-yard pass. Who's on the sideline thinking that up? Come on. I mean, this is not a smart football team. This is a stale, stagnant, choking football team right now. Cody says, "No, the refs sucked all year, dude." And I agree. They did suck all year. This team will never do shit with the mindset of playing not to lose. The entire game plan of the week is just don't turn the ball over and let the team beat themselves. That's what RB says. Lindsay says refs were terrible. Why did the Eagles have an injury with 50 seconds left and didn't use their timeout? But where's the consistency? I agree. It's from game to game, and you don't know what the hell officiating you're going to get. And again, I've never seen this officiating so bad until we hopped into bed with Vegas and the NFL I'm talking about 5 years ago. Now, all of a sudden, it's questionable officiating every game. All of a sudden, every game seems to come down to the final drive. I don't want to say, anything's weird, but things are weird. Tortilla says, can we just talk about food today or something? It is Thanksgiving week, guys. I do want to say it's Thanksgiving week. We have some stuff coming up this week for you as we do head into the holiday. And I do want to say this. I made the comment last week that I thought that we would be doing Thursday. We're going to take Thursday off because Mike's going to be cooking dinner and just, you know how Thanksgiving gets, and it starts really early in the morning. So we do apologize. We'll be back Friday to continue to get ready for the Buffalo Bills. But Thursday, after Mike and I talked over the weekend, I do think we're going to take Thursday off, even though there are games. And there's also a game on Black Friday as well, guys. A lot of football still, but again, I think we'll give Mike some time off to cook turkey and all that, but that's where we're at right now. I just did want to throw that out there while it is fresh on my mind. Yinzer Joe says the Steelers just can't make use of the middle of the field on both sides of the ball. Other teams are scoring on them in the middle, and we can't. I mean, this has been going on for years, right, Joe? This has been going on since the New England reign. Fearless Steel says that Ryan Teflon Dawn, Austin Smith, all Steeler coaches suck. I'm not surprised, Steeler Freak said. Cody says this is probably the NFL way of saying fuck you to Pittsburgh for whatever happened last week. The refs need PEDs. You know what? Speaking of PEDs, anybody see what's going on with Myles Garrett? 7 sacks in the past 2 weeks. 14 sacks in the last 5 games. This guy is on pace to shatter TJ Watt's record. I'm just throwing that out there in case anybody missed it. But yes, listen, TJ stepped up. He caused the fumble in the end zone, which caused the touchdown, which is great, which is why we pay him. But just for a moment, look over across the state line, see what's going on. This guy, my God, 7 sacks in 2 weeks. But I don't want to spend my afternoon talking about Myles Garrett. Just wanted to throw that out there. Bingo says my grandma would never watch Steeler games with the family because she swore up and down that the NFL was rigged. She was rarely wrong. I don't not believe Granny. Cody says everyone that was anything to do with our offense needs to be fired next year. All offensive coaches, we need a fresh start. Phil says 14 points off the stash. Turnovers in the defense looking stupid again. An outcoach game versus Teflon Dawn. Tortilla says it's all rigged, and I'll watch pods where people are defending the NBA and NFL with their lives. Shit is obviously rigged. And the thing is, the thing about football, it's interesting. Because if it happens to the Chiefs in the Super Bowl, we're like, it's rigged. But then you go on with your life. And it doesn't bother you until it happens to your team. So it's happening in a way that it's happening all over. But as soon as it happens to your team, it seems like it goes elsewhere. And you're like, okay, well, it's not happening to us, so we're good. And but come on, if anybody hasn't noticed that the officiating has been goofy the past 5 years, I'll tell you, you're crazy. Especially if you've been a longtime football fan and have seen football for many, many years. I think that it's obvious, but RB says the issue is we will somehow beat Buffalo and everyone will be happy again, and then lose to Miami, get by Cleveland, then split with Baltimore, get smoked by Detroit, and 9-8, and everyone will be happy. Cody says Steelers defense scored another touchdown, and the offense still couldn't Could pull it together. Couldn't pull it together. RB says, feel the steel. Are you 14 or just a basement dwelling virgin? Yinzer Joe says, I want to know why the hell you throw a 1 yard slant on a 4th and 6. Why not go for the 5 yards, have a Boswell at 65 yards? Exactly. If anything I trust on this defense or on this team is Chris Boswell. If it comes down to I need him to kick a 65-yard field goal or depend on Mason Rudolph's arm, I'm wisely leaning towards Chris Boswell's leg. Call me crazy. And yes, that seems to be the game plan. It's throw 2 yards and see what the guys can do. And apparently we don't have the playmakers to do that. Well, we have a couple, but I noticed that their numbers went down. Darnell Washington, after playing King Kong last week, his numbers go down. He gets less targets. Jalen Warren, the battering ram, no linebackers for Chicago. His numbers goes down, his carries. I'm not taking anything away from Gainwell, just saying. We're not beating Buffalo. We might win 1 or 2 more games this year. That is what Lindsay's saying. You know, Lindsay, I mean, I think there's a part of every one of us that think that as well. And you know, you don't want to. You want to think that you have the best chance that you could possibly have. But every time we have the chance to make an opportunity or to create more space, we had that. They gave us the lead. They gave us the 4-1 lead. And now look where we're at. Tortilla says this. We didn't play horrible. We had chances to win, but it's still annoying having the same conversation every single week about why we can't execute efficiently. Mark Malone, what's up, brother? Always great to see you. He says we're going to have to score 35 points to overcome Tomlin's $165 million defense. The Steelers are last in the NFL as they completed air yard average of under 3.5 yards per pass, the line of scrimmage. Again, the offense is to get the guys to complete the pass in a short gain situation and make a play. Think back. Think long and hard. How's that working out for us? This is listen, this is the big plan. This is the game plan. Cody says, just know that any game we are ahead at halftime, we will lose. Steeler Freak says TJ has been going for a few years now. Mark Malone says the great secondary master had receivers run wide open and uncovered all afternoon again. Yinzer Joe says, see, we really did stat-wise, but there's a big difference in Rudolph and Rodgers. Rodgers scores touchdowns and checks the details of the coverages in the O-line. Rudolph is a decent backup, no starter. And that was my argument last week. He's good at what he is. He's a good backup quarterback. And again, yesterday was a winnable game, and he could have won. This game could have been won with the backup, but it wasn't, unfortunately. Richard said the best coach won, the worst coach lost. This game came down to coaching. Let's see, just learning again. C4Z, I do want to say welcome to the terrible board. Great having you. Just learning, he says this. Arthur Smith should just run all tight ends on an offense. Even the quarterback should be a tight end. That's been my argument all along, brother. Stash. Phil is still calling for the stash. Speaking of stash, Mark Malone says this. Mason only piloted the team to 28 points. We're going to have to score 35 points per game to overcome the Tomlin arbitrary. You know what? It's all part of the cluster that the Steelers football season is this year, guys. I think at the end of the day, we could point a lot of things that led us to where we are right now, but not, any way you put it, we're still in it, guys. We fell out of a playoff spot entirely because, like I had said, we're not making no wild card. There's no wild card going to be made from this AFC North. It's going to be the division winner or nothing. We are tied 6-5 with the Ravens. However, we do not have that tiebreaker at the moment as we are 2-1 in the division and they are 2-0 in the division, which gives them the advantage. However, we do still have 3 division games left, 2 against Baltimore, 1 against Cleveland. So, if you're looking at that saying, okay, well, we're done. We lost positioning. We got blah, blah, blah. we're still in it. You got to start winning some of these games that we're calling the biggest game of the year, and especially against teams that are beatable teams. And again, I really feel Chicago is a beatable team. They're becoming a more solid team, but I don't think that they're any better than the Chicago team that beat us 3 years ago or 4 years ago, whatever year that was that we got beat down there. They're good, they're solid, but again, the Steelers just aren't this year so far. Got 6 games left, guys. Buffalo, Ravens, Dolphins, Lions, Browns, and Ravens. Does that spell 500 or better for you guys? Let me know. Let's throw it up on the board. Does it seem like it's going to be 9-8, 8-9, better, worse, whatever the case may be? Let me know what you guys think on the board. Again, 6-5 right now, tied, but we do lack by way of tiebreaker in the division at the moment. Tortilla says, y'all see the play where we lined up? How can you not have somebody over your tackle? What part of fundamentals don't we understand? Calvin Austin's on the field trying to address it. He's pointing and he's saying, look, dude, the tackle's uncovered. Get over him. This is a team that prepares every week just like every other team. I don't get it, guys. I don't get it. One thing that you know when you watch football is your tackle's got to be covered. Right here, Cody says this: if we lose to Baltimore and Buffalo, I want to see Howard for the rest of the season. Jason, what's up, dude? Always great seeing Jason Atkins on the board. He says Hayward had that first down, but we should have kicked the field goal. Would have went up 17-7. Just Learning says this: Mason, Howard aren't the solution. They're not good. And I think I said last week, just Learning. I think Mason is a good backup. He's solid. He came in last week and was able to get the job done. And even this week is in the starting role. It could have been a game that was won. However, a lot of things happened. But I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm not disagreeing. They're not the solution. Cody says 4 middle linebackers out and we still didn't throw to the middle of the field. Somber. Good news, y'all. PFF updated the draft pick order. We're 16 now instead of 20. We are moving on up, guys. We're going to get that quarterback. We're going to get him. I'm telling you. Nice seeing you, Somber. Just Learning says Canada was better than Arthur Smith. You know what? Tortilla. It's like we know that the other teams know what we're going to do, so we adjust and do the dumbest possible thing. I've seen us doing that all year, overthinking ourselves. Something that seems so simple, they'll overthink it and make it more complicated. You know, I was watching the game and I seen this slant, and they did it multiple times in the second half. They came out and they said, you know what, if we throw the ball a little bit quicker, we're going to have more success against this Steeler defense. And they did. They came out and threw quicker in the second half, and they hit the slant 3 plays in a row, or in the same drive at least, to start that second half. And I said to myself, why is every team all the way back through the Tom Brady era been able to kill us on quick slants? And this never has been addressed. And then we try it. The ball's bouncing off our guys' helmets and falling short. And Tortilla says it's like we did get that one. Bingo says this: start Howard the rest of the year. Let's learn, let him learn and grow. And you still need to draft a quarterback. By all means, make your moves and draft your guy. Jason says this is because the once beloved NFL turned into the WWE. It's sports entertainment. One could debate, but you know what? I think you have an argument. And I hate that. I truly do. And, I don't hate wrestling or anything like that, but come on. This is not what it's supposed to be. It's competitive sports. Mark Malone, it's the price we pay to have a coach that's worshipped by indoctrinated soccer moms out there. And let's face it, they're the ones buying the merch. Lindsay says, what happens if the Raven loses to Cincinnati? We're back in the lead or tied. Okay, so then it'll go to a third tiebreaker. And I think the third tiebreaker is conference wins. And we are actually, we do have a few, 3 that I'm right off the top of my head, 3 losses to the NFC. So maybe, just maybe we might have the tiebreaker in conference games. But there's still a lot of season left. Yes, we can fall ass backwards into the playoffs. Absolutely. Is the dreams of Rodgers riding off into the sunset, beating the Packers in the Super Bowl? Is that gone, or is that still out there? I don't know. But again, Sunday afternoons keep ending the way they did yesterday. It's not bloody likely. Corey says predictable offense is so predictable they covered the outside and checked down because they knew we didn't throw over the middle. You know what? I consider that a smart fucking coach. If I was playing the Steelers, I'd take two guys and I would set them out in the flats. I'd have everybody else do what they're normally supposed to do. And I would take, I was telling Mike, remember the Patriots? They would literally have two down linemen on defense, and their coverage was so complex. And don't get me wrong, I don't know if we could even comprehend what it was that they were doing, but they would have two down linemen on defense. They would drop two down linemen in coverage. They'd have 9 guys covering people on known passing downs. Send 2 of them guys out in the flats and just have them stand there, for crying out loud, if you're trying to stop us. Very predictable, very stale. It's getting, I'm not going to harp on that all again. We have a lot to talk about. And it's Thanksgiving week, and I am thankful for things, and I'm thankful for football and the Steelers. I just like to see them playing better, of course, just like everybody else would. But we'll stick to the topic today and see what we can come up with, guys. Bingo says, then we still lose 2 when we play Baltimore later. Just learning, says Steelers will never be in position to draft a good quarterback. Don't fantasize, guys, is what he's saying. Steeler Freak says the refs are shit for every. I know, and they are. I'm complaining because it's against our team right now, but I acknowledge that the referees are really, really bad this year. Again, I'm wondering what's going on. Is it Vegas? Is it they're maybe trying to work AI officiating into the league without mentioning anything? Kind of setting the early groundwork. Baseball did it. He says, Steeler Freak says this, the refs are shit for every team. If the NFL is rigged, why watch it? The NFL ball washes Tomlin for everything else, but won't cheat him a ring, I guess. Tortilla says quarterbacks get drafted all over the draft. Most teams don't go from franchise QBs to franchise QBs. It takes years. Absolutely. It took us about 25 years to go from Bradshaw to Big Ben. But we're well on our way. I just want to throw that out there. If you don't think that we're well on our way to that timeline, we're right on track. Click. We're right on track, guys. Jason says 6-11 ain't far off. Steeler says every fan base that loses says it's rigged to go. But and that's Steeler Freak is why I I'm not stopping on this for any particular reason. I just want to say this is why I mentioned last week and the week before and the week before and the week before, some weeks that we won, how bad that I notice cheating is. And that's why I do that, to make it seem I'm not just bringing it up when the Steelers lose. I think that, the consistency across the league as far as bad officiating has been pretty consistent. And again, take a look at the 2 calls I mentioned at the top of the hour. On the DK Metcalf interception, on that play in front of him on the sideline, his right foot was on the white line and his right hand was touched the ball as it bobbled down into the defender's hand, and he made the catch. So again, by watching any Steeler football earlier this year, once a guy is out of bounds touching the ball is dead. That shouldn't have been an interception. And 2, come on, show us the replay of Mason Rudolph fumbling that ball. I want to see where his ass was when that ball come out. They never even considered talking about it. Right to break, they went right into the Bears' offensive drive. They came back. Is it because it was so obvious? Maybe. I don't know. How do I know? I didn't get to see it. Nobody's seen it. So for those 2 things, I am going to complain today. Not saying that those are the reasons we lost. Just complaining that the officiating has been consistently bad week to week. And guess what? I'll do it again next week. And then again the following week. When we win, I'll do it again that week as well, just to prove my point. But again, every week in, week out, the officiating is as bad as it's been. As bad as it's been. Lindsay says Darnell coming off the game he had. We think he got 2 balls thrown to him for 23. Dude, that's exactly what I'm saying. Ramsey, that's exactly what I'm saying. I would have given that guy the ball 10 times. Not 2, I can tell you that. Uh, and you might say, "Oh, whose decisions or whose choices?" Well, okay, let's see. Let's take a look. If it's the quarterbacks, he's just not a good. He's not as good as making decisions as the guy that was on the bench. That's just the way that it is. He will never be as good at making decisions as the guy was with the cast on his hand on the bench. But again, we will move on, guys. Tortilla says, did you see the Browns game? Browns head coach punted on the 29-yard line instead of kicking a field goal and going over. Instead, they punted and it was under. This shit happens every week. Speaking of punting, when did Harvin come back? Man, I listen, all last year, I loved Corliss Waitman, but I in particular could think of 3 particular punts that were so short. And he had long field to punt too. It wasn't situational short. It was punt from my own 20. What do you have, a 30-yard punt? Come on. Okay, Ryder Somber says, as far as I'm concerned, Arthur Smith is done after this year. What do you guys think? Arthur Smith done after this year? I don't disagree. I don't know if I agree, but I don't. I'm not hell-bent against anything of that nature. Cody says Jameis Winston out there scoring touchdowns as a receiver, and our receivers can't do anything. How about this? George Pickens, guys, 67 catches this year for 1,054 yards. All of our receivers, 84 yards, 1,082 yards. Every receiver we have on the roster, we have less than 30 yards more receiving yards than George Pickens. And that's not a debate about George Pickens. That's just kind of showing you where we're at. We didn't need a receiver, though. We didn't need a receiver. They didn't even. Hey, listen, if you wanted a receiver, you would have had a receiver. At some point, here we are, guys, just 28 more yards. All of our receivers have more than George Pickens. Just an observation. Cody says, trade DK for Winston. Right. I love Winston so much. Hey, Winston's a cool dude. And the thing is, he's kind of stupid good in a way. You know what I mean? He just kind of lollygags around and just gets shit done. Richard, my man, he says, oh, your biggest fear happened yesterday too. DK was injured. Now we have a number 2 to step. No number 2. That's interesting. I was told that shouldn't be a problem, but you know what? He made his way back out on the field, so we'll give it another week and see how it plays out. Just learning says Smith should run all tight ends online. QB should be all tight ends. Just learning. You're definitely on the track to earning the game ball today, my friend. I do want to say welcome. Thong Truth, another one of my favorite names on the board. Thong Truth says this: all Tomlin cares about is his 9-8 record. Lindsay says Tomlin should call the offenses like Campbell did. Yinzer Joe says Arthur Smith's offense is only averaging 22.4 points per game. Canada averaged 19.1. We need another wide receiver to balance out. And that's what a wide receiver will do. It will balance things out. There's definitely an imbalance. And we're looking for unexpected heroes every week to win a game. There's no, come on. We help DK get away from doubles. Yeah, right. And just the common sense things in football. John, Steeler Freak says this passing chart for the last 7 quarterbacks include Ben's last show, all dink and dunk, no middle throws ever. That is the 3 OCs too. Tomlin ball is outdated, and the team won't win the Super Bowl with him at quarterback or coach. I'm sorry, of course. Truth Thong says Bills lost 2 in a row, and there's no way the Bills are going to come into Pittsburgh and play a bad game. Come on. Again, for 1, we're totally predictable. For 2, we're stale. For 3, every team seems to know what we're going to do. Snap in, snap out. I mean, I'm hoping, I'm rooting, I'll watch. but I'm not feeling real confident about a win against Buffalo, which if we don't win, we'll be sitting at 6-6. And certainly if the Ravens beat the Bengals on Thursday, that would move them a whole game. And I don't know, are we a come from behind kind of team? Have you seen anything that indicated this? RB says the fire Tallman chants need to put some fire Canada chants to shame. Tallman should be a moment Thursday to be thankful for being in the same town as Bob Nutting and that he has a greedy retard boss. Somber says we go 1-2 the rest of our division games. Steeler Freak says the Steelers haven't been good for a long time. They aren't good now and won't be good in the future with Tomlin. Rono and Steeler fan, I do want to say this. Welcome to the terrible board. Great to see you and great to have you. He says James Harrison recently says you're not a Steeler just because you put on the uniform. Great comment. Mark Malone says we need Arians type head coach. RB says again with the Howard shit, laugh my fucking ass off. Anybody who wants Howard to succeed needs to understand he needs time to sit and develop. Taking the field under this staff will just ruin him. John says drafting a quarterback with that staff is a waste and will put them back 3 to 4 years. Bingo Mason was successful last week because he came in at the half and the defense didn't plan for him all week. Now we're making sense. Everyone knows, but it won't change anytime soon. Oh, hold on. Let me get back to this one here. Didn't plan for him. Backups always look awesome when they come in mid-game. Ron Owen says this one common denominator with our failures over the years. Everyone knows, but it won't change anytime soon. Somber says slant, seams, and digs. Free yards on the Steelers for the last decade. Tortilla says shit now. With Rodgers on the roster, might be the only shot we have. Not like anything will change next year. Tortilla says I meant for the development of Howard, of course. RB says teams kill us over the middle because we run at high-level schemes, and Mike loved to date teams to take that risk and eventually beat themselves while the biggest offensive philosophy. You know what? And that's the thing. We're not cute. We're not good. We shouldn't depend on other people to beat themselves. You know, we're a team that's struggling to do the fundamentals well from a week-to-week basis. We're square one kind of team at this point. And again, I countless amount of teams around the league will tell you that, and a countless amount of superstar players that are out of the game now will concede to that and say the Steelers they're predictable. How do you change that, guys? How do we change this? Cody says it's because our safeties play in the center field, scared to get beat over top. RB says just don't turn it over. And you know what? That's a good point, too. If, in fact, the officiating is called correctly. Again, I'm not blaming this loss on officiating. But I am saying when DK Metcalf's foot was on that white line and he touched the ball that got intercepted, that ball should have been dead. And again, I would certainly like to have a closer look at where Mason's backside was when he fumbled that ball in the pocket. It would have been nice. Again, you know, we're fans. I think we deserve it. But, you know, so those 2 turnovers turned into 14 points. Or if they certainly didn't turn into points that we didn't get. So do what you want with that. Jason says only other teams make 20-yard plays look easy while we can barely get 2. Junior high level schemes is what RB is saying. Steeler Freak says this team is more fucked up than a rookie quarterback away. In fact, I wouldn't draft one with Tomlin as head coach. He can't develop him. You know how many quarterbacks? And again, I got to give him the benefit of the doubt. Ben was a superstar. He was an outlier, but not much success in the way of development ever since. I don't think, is there? Tortilla says, it's bad when I'm not making any dumb dad jokes. Well, you know what? You made me laugh over the weekend, Tortilla. If that makes you feel any better. I went back and looked up a few things from last week's show for a couple reasons. And when I was talking about the Super Bowl in '95, when I was in high school, I was a senior. Tortilla's comment was, I was -7 years old. I don't know why. That just struck me funny. You guys always bring the funny. Bingo says, come on, Tortilla. You can do it. Kenneth, what's up, dude? Always great seeing Kenneth Jones on the board. My man, he says this. I doubt we make the playoffs. If it will give us a reset and coaching change, I'm okay with that. RB says, I always thought Rimsey was smart until she said, let Tomlin go. Oh, man, here we go. Until she said, let Tomlin call the plays. Come on, Rimsey. Tomlin is the second biggest issue with this organization, only behind Art. Truth Thong says, this Steelers are boring, conservative, stale, fearful, unimaginative, set in their ways, reflection of their head coach. Lindsay says this. First of all, don't call me dumb. And second, he can't do any worse than Arthur Smith. Derpy, what's up, man? Great seeing you, bro. Hope everything is good for you this Monday morning. Just to let everyone know, Derpy's team did fall short in the playoffs, as his high school team was on a nice run as well. They did fall short in their game, unfortunately, but I know Derpy was certainly very excited about that game, Derpy. I wish they could have won for you, man. Tortilla says, here we go. Steelers are turning us against each other, right? I don't know. Do you want to come on, Derpy? I don't know. Let me think for a minute. Just hang out. I got to think about that. I don't know. Maybe. If you come in here and make me mental on this Monday morning, I don't know what I'll do. Just hang out for a minute. RB says, when did I call you dumb? Uh-oh. Going back to Lindsay, End of Days. I do love that name. End of Days 7568. Just because it's an interesting name and an interesting concept. He says this, Steelers don't lose back-to-back games. That's, you know what, sometimes the case. They did earlier this year with the Bengals and the Packers. However, you're right. A lot of the times they don't. The Bills are going to be a hard task to follow. This is going to be a good one, man, because a tough one, because, again, to think Josh Allen's going to come here after losing and play another shit game. That may have been his worst game, certainly this season, for sure. Maybe in his career that went down last week. So, again, it's going to be tough. It is going to be a tough game. This is one of the tougher games all year. And listen, even at the beginning of the year, we're circling this game. This is a tough one. This is one you're probably going to lose. So win a lot of these other ones and don't put yourself in a position to have that hurt you. Tortilla, what are you up to? Derpy Steeler Freak says this. Go figure. The teams watch Steelers tape. They have taken away the short pass double DK and stopped blitzing to force QBs to be patient and take a hit. The Steelers are nothing but dink and dunk. Oh, yeah, he is. This is Thanksgiving week. He's turkey this week. It's not Derpy. I forgot to tell I was going to let you know later in the week, but I didn't know he'd pop in today. During this week, Derpy is no longer Derpy. He's officially turkey. And then it goes back after the weekend. So, guys, do refer to Derpy as turkey this week. Jason says this. I did see it. Mason was down. I replayed it so many times. Did you watch the replay? Because I didn't, Jason. And I appreciate that comment because, again, the contact of him hitting the ground is when the ball popped out. And they replayed once from a bad angle, went to commercial, never talked about it again. Usually on a turnover, they talk about it a couple times. So at least get a couple replays from different angles. Not on that, though. It was, again, I'm not blaming the loss on the officiating. I'm not. I'm just stating what I felt was obvious. Gobble, gobble. That's right, turkey. Turkey's in the house. RB says also, if you don't believe Mike Tomlin has his hand in the offensive game planning, I don't know what to tell you. Tomlin's entire game plan is not to lose the game, minimize mistakes, and keep it close. RB says this. He's told you that 10,000 times in 14 years. Rodgers will definitely play Sunday by way of end of days. I do agree he will play Sunday. They probably thought, you know what? I don't know what they thought. I'm gonna move on, but I agree with you on that end of days. Somber said this. People laughed when I said Johnston was better. Tortilla, we changed Percy Harvin's name to DK Metcalf. And Percy Harvin was definitely in the house this week. Where the hell did Corliss Waitman's leg go? I noticed on 2 earlier punts, and then they made a point to mention it on the 3rd time that he had a bad kick. I mean, they weren't bad kicks. They weren't shanks, but they certainly weren't going as far as they usually do. 30 yards, I think they said, or it was just something ridiculous, crazily ridiculous on a punt. Steeler Freak says, why? It is obvious Tomlin micromanages the O. It has been the same with same style the last 3 offensive coordinators and 7 quarterbacks. Just learning the reason that Darnell is getting the ball is because of Rodgers advocating for absolutely. Once Rodgers comes back, I guarantee that. And again, that comes down to decision making and seeing things that, again, the future Hall of Famer, doesn't see, and vice versa with the backup quarterback. I agree. I think that Darnell Washington certainly gets the ball more again next week. But what planet do you have to be on if you were the backup quarterback, not knowing that, you know what, this might be one of my better options is to hit this guy that's 9 feet tall and that runs over everybody? DK was a bust contract, is what Steeler Freak is saying. Jason says, just think 3 playoff wins in 16 years. Anyone else in the world would have lost their job. Well, our other coach in Pittsburgh. 16 and 17. He comes in and wins back-to-back Stanley Cup finals. He's already gone. So what's going on here, guys? Yinzer Joe says, how serious is the Metcalf injury? Is this where they activate Valdez, Scantling, and Samuel? You know what? As far as I know, it's not super serious. However, Mike Tomlin's press conference will be tomorrow at noon, and he will update us on all the injury updates and information that he has. That way we know. But as of right now, Metcalf did hurt his ankle. He did go back in. Again, we do know JPJ hurt his hip. He did not return. And, of course, Broderick Jones with stingers made his way to the locker room, never came back out. So those are the injuries as we know. I don't know what that means for Juan Valdez, Scantling, and Samuel, but that is what we know to this point. And for the next 24 hours, unless things leak up onto the online, but tomorrow we'll get that full report. And also, where did that Cam Hayward injury come from last week? He was out resting all week with his rest days. How the hell did he injure? What the hell did he injure? His ankle, maybe? He showed up on the injury report Friday. He got hurt at practice. He didn't practice Thursday or Friday or Tuesday or what? Come on. What is happening to this team? Tortilla says, our horses are not prepared for battle. Somber, oh yeah, and that Isaiah Hodgkins guy that was on our practice squad got picked up by the Giants, flew into town on Thursday, and scored a contested touchdown catch on Sunday. Move and train my ass, he's saying. I didn't know that, but that's certainly interesting, Somber. Lindsay says, every time we lose, it's all Tomlin's fault. And when I hear nothing, it's just old. Isn't going anywhere. So keep wasting your breath. My only problem with that is I made a point to say last week, people can still complain last week about things about Tomlin. It's easier to sweep under a rug when you win. And as long as you keep having 500 seasons, it's basically the same case. Well, he's never had a losing season. Let's just sweep it under the rug and move forward. Again, 10 years, guys. We're going on a decade without winning a playoff game. First time in Steeler history. In the Super Bowl era, I'm sorry. So, Bingo says, Jameis Winston at Ohio State. We don't come here to play school, LOL. Yeah, stupid good is accurate. Yeah, he is. He's just kind of a goofy good. It's weird. He's always got a big smile on his face, but he's, catching touchdowns down the sideline and shit. We're trying our hardest. We can't do that. It's nuts, man. RB says this, Mike Tomlin is the only coach in the NFL that will say he loves one-score games and lives for them. Any smart coach wants to win games as early as they can and not dick around for 58 minutes. Just Learning says this, our number 2s are slot receivers under 6 foot. And you've seen it. Yesterday on the one play, I think coverage on Roman Wilson down the line. He had no chance at catching the ball. The other guy was 6 inches taller than him. He had no opportunity to catch that football. We're not in a good situation receiver-wise. And you know what? Why hasn't it gotten better over the past 3 years? Why hasn't the passing game gotten any better? We have the luxury of having a future Hall of Fame quarterback that's able to put up some red zone numbers and get some touchdowns. But thank God. Let's just say we would have went with the Mason Rudolph experience from the get-go. Would we be even 6-5 at this point? So we got to be thankful that we have a guy that put up 19 touchdowns to this point in the season, which is something that we haven't had over quite a few seasons, actually. Kenneth says we need to put Duggar on the jugs machine every night. And that's another thing. Are we good for one dropped interception a game or what? Boy, we would be the best in the league if we didn't drop interceptions the way that we do. Think all the way back to the beginning of the season. Early on, I think Chucky Clark missed 2 in the first game against the Jets, and I go back and it's a theme. It's through the whole year. Tortilla, where's the fun in that at the running back? Where's the fun in that RB? Is what he's saying. Referring back to RB. Steeler Freak says Rooney's team equals his fucked up choice. It isn't Tomlin's fault. It is his. There you go. So throughout your, still fighting the Tomlin fight, there's an argument. Tortilla says blame the nutritionist. The nutritionist. There it is. It's all his fault. Mark Malone, he makes the rules. Tortilla, Lindsay, I feel okay. Phil, still it disgusts me that we're going to see the same bullshit until 2027. Just Learning says GP worst trade. Rodgers would light it up. Again, guys, GP this year, 67 catches, 1,054 yards. All of our wide receivers, everyone, add them up, and they have 84 catches, but only 28 more yards than George Pickens on this season. So, I listen, I'm not one of the people that are going to sit here and complain about George Pickens for the next 10 years. He's gone, whatever. But, just looking at the hard facts and numbers and statistics, DK is on pace for 65 catches for 886 yards this season. Let me repeat that. DK Metcalf is on pace for 65 catches, 886 yards this season. The guy that was the one receiver last year, again, right now, 67 catches, 1,054 yards at this point. And just to make it clear again, DK Metcalf is on pace for 65 yards, which is 2 catches than George Pickens has right now, with another elite receiver on that squad. DK Metcalf, 65 catches, just 886 yards is what he is on pace for at this point. Kenneth says Tomlin should have challenged that tush push. Hayward got the first. Anybody else pick this up? And I waited to bring this up. I didn't want to make this seem like I was blowing. So anybody notice the fake tush push? Did anybody notice on Friday I said, why don't we ever do a fake tush push? Just wondering. Let's see. Just Learning says this Tomlin is a good recruiter for the Steelers. I'll give him that. Scott Atkins, I do want to say welcome to the show. Scott says this, I look forward to seeing the days when we don't have to see another Steeler press conference with Mike Tomlin at the podium. This is just the same year after year with different players. Phyllis Steele says it's just another yay season as Ryan since Obama. So let's just keep. You're right. Obama was in office the last time we won a playoff game. Keep in mind, there's been 3 presidents since then. Those aren't good things, guys. Again, I understand you like the guy. He's a cool guy. Players like the guy. But that's not what he's there for. He's a football coach. That's a good skill to have. But what you're basically there to do mainly isn't being accomplished, isn't being achieved. Unless you're okay with 500 football. Are we happy with our baseball teams being 500? Are we happy with our hockey team being 500 all the time? No. Why is this acceptable? Again, Mike Sullivan came in 2016 and won back-to-back Stanley Cups. Somebody else's team, whatever. Who cares what the case is? The fact is, he won 2 Stanley Cups in 2016, 2017, and he's already gone. That's how coaching is. That's how the job goes. What we're doing now is weird. Steeler Freak says Derpy does have turkey breasts. Well, I do have some. I have listen. I have ammunition for this Thanksgiving, and it's going to be coming out here over the next couple of days. So stay tuned as we are getting closer. Of course, today a lot of stuff we do want to get through and get out. Not a lot of mess around time, but as the week goes on, I think you're going to have a lot of fun for this Thanksgiving week. And again, I do want to say Thursday we will not be on, but we'll be back Friday to pick up on Black Friday, as we do have a football game on Friday as well. So guys, I do like that. The whole way through the week, we have 3 games Thursday, 1 game Friday. Back at it Sunday, Monday. A lot of football moving forward. I'm going to go right here, I think. Let's see. Jason says, this ship, I rewinded it 6 times and paused it. His ass hit the ground, then the ball comes out. Why would... what's going on? And then again, like you know, they went right to break. Listen, and the view they did on the review was basically the same view you seen on TV. They didn't even give you any extra views. It was so friggin' weird. Again, not blaming officiating, but what's going on with the officiating? Just asking. Cody says if the head coach was any good, he would have taken over the offensive play calling. I seen Dan Campbell win a game like that 2 weeks ago. Cody, correct is what Just Learning says. Cody follows that up by saying the word head coach means you should be able to coach everything and not just the defense. Tortilla Tomlin just be watching the games like us. Mark Malone, we really did need to get that bone begin to stitch back together. Aaron's bone, I'm thinking he's saying. Mark follows that up by saying there's not going to be any real danger from here on out. Jason says we suck. Aaron says, here we go, Steelers. Always great seeing Aaron's here we go, Steelers post on the terrible board. Jason says, I don't want to hear the excuses about picking in the middle. Look at Cowher. He picked in the middle in that late 20s. How many times? And still built very good teams. Just Learning says Winston spends $400,000 a month, he said. Did you know that James Harrison spends $500,000 on his body every month? You know, that's crazy. $500,000 on his body. Or is it a year? I don't know what it is, but $500,000 on his body. I know that's how much he spends, and that's why he looks like that and why we don't, I guess. Tyrone, what's up, dude? My man, Tyrone, always great seeing you, bro. He says, saying what's up to my bro, but fuck the Steelers. That's kind of where we're all at this morning, dude. Unfortunately, I thought this was going to be a victory Monday. I truly did. And you know what? It could have been. That was a beatable team. That was a winnable game. And we just choked it away again. As we've been doing 5-1 or 4-1 or whatever the hell we were. If we wouldn't have started the way we did, we would be in Ohio. We'd be somewhere between Cleveland and Cincinnati. And believe me, that's one place you don't want to be, is in Ohio, somewhere between Cincinnati and Cleveland. Yinzer Joe says Tallman's record won't go below 500. He has to consecutively lose more than 18 seasons in a row to move below. Then maybe he'll get fired. Well, the problem with that is this. Let's say he goes under 500 this year. It's still not going to change anything. He has 1 season under 500 is going to be the thing. He's been coaching for 20 years. He's only had 1 season below 500. And I guess if you're in the mediocrity, that's a huge accomplishment. But again, in Steeler history, this team has never gone this amount of time without winning a playoff game. Quit camouflaging with stupid shit. It is what it is, guys. We gotta figure something out. Otherwise, obviously, what's going on for the last 7, 8, 9 years, have you seen anything with all the different players and switch GMs and so again, the debate is getting stronger for the against Tomlin crowd. Tortilla says this, bro. Winston would be quarterback 1 and wide receiver 2. We could use both of that. We could use Winston just now to fill those 2 spots, quarterback 1 and wide receiver 2. We could use him. Cody says DK Metcalf fleeced us on his contract. No one will ever take on that contract. We will never get a second-round pick for him. Phil says this at Truth Thong. Welcome to the terrible board. And I agree with you 100%. Somber says Roman had that guy beat by at least 3 yards. If Mason puts that on him, that guy, he walks in for a touchdown. That's a walk-in touchdown. I'm sorry. Cody says this. He says if Mason Rudolph started all year, we would have Mendoza next year. So messed up again. And you know what? That was the plan. As we lost last year in the playoffs and in embarrassing fashion, we said, you know what? Let's tear it down and start over. But no, here we go. Still on the same track, guys. Just another year. They have a real OC on Choker Town, Field of Steel is saying. Just Learning says the punter should be a tight end. Gang, my man Jamal, what's up, bro? Always great seeing Jamal on the terrible board. How you holding up today? Tortilla, don't worry, we'll get a second round pick for the next good wide receiver we draft. No, you're good, Jamal. Great seeing you, dude. Hey, as long as you made it, dude. Scott says this: stale bread might be okay when you're starving. This is moldy bread with the green fur escaped off and old peanut butter and jelly barred from your neighbor. Tyrone, I'm so over this team, bro. And coaches, no playoffs wins in the last. I mean, that's just freakish. You know what I'm saying? If this was even still debatable, that's a whole different story. If the Tomlin argument had more substance, I would listen to it. But besides for saying this guy has been playing 500 football his whole career, it never went below 500. That's the argument. That's the main point. I just don't know if you have it anymore. I don't know if the argument is there. I don't know. I'm not. I don't wish the guy ill luck. Matter of fact, if he leaves there, I'd hope that he goes somewhere and be successful. I just know that it's not working. That's a long period of time, guys. Again, very, very similar to what I seen in the late 80s with the Chuck Noll stale era, which I think most people would say was the greatest coach the Steelers had. Maybe still. The guy won 4 Super Bowls in 6 years. Say what you want, but his last 10 years were stale as hell. It happens. It happens. Yinzer Joe, Pickens also has help from Lamb and Tolbert. They can't double Pickens all the time. That's true. And with all them other guys around him, he still has more targets and catches than our whole entire team. I mean, come on, our wide receiver room is losing to George Pickens. A lot to get into today. I'm going to get into some more stuff here shortly. I do want to say we did pass the halfway point, guys. Everybody so far up to this point on the CBS Pick'ems has done great so far. Stick it out to tonight as the Carolina Panthers travel to San Francisco all the way out on the West Coast for an 8:15 start on Monday Night Football to wrap up Week 12. Tomorrow we will review and go over what the results were for the CBS Pick'ems. So I'm just going to leave that as it is right now. I do want to say this: Turkey is in first place again. Somehow 2 times in 3 weeks, Turkey at the top of the list. We'll get more into the CBS Pick'ems tomorrow. And if you still need to finish anything up, tiebreaker, last game pick, do get in and get that. You don't want to lose because of forgetting to maybe take your pick. Tyrone says, but I'm out, dog. Love you. I'm off this team right now. Embarrassing franchise. We used to be them dogs. We used to be scared to play us. Now we're a joke, but we stand by. A standard is a standard. Well, thank you for stopping by, Tyrone, my friend. It's always great to see you. I hope you have a wonderful day. We'll get back. We'll be back. We'll be back at it. I just don't know when it's going to be. Cody says, Jamal, don't let it happen again. Yeah. Get these two started on a Steeler loss Monday. That's all we need. Tortilla says that tight end on Dallas is good. Absolutely. We got a good tight end. We got 1.5 good tight ends out of 30. Scott says this: we need to get our food stamps, buy a new loaf of bread, some new peanut butter and jelly, and start making fresh sandwiches. I can't chew this trash anymore. Just Learning says DK gets double GP would do great. Yeah, I know. Cody, damn Tyrone, you still crashing out. Tortilla, I think Harrison spends $500,000 every year. Is that what it is? A year, I think. So, When you're at the beach and you see these guys, don't be envious. Fuck, how much money they're putting in their body. No wonder they look good. Manic Monday. Just learning. That's about what it is too, man. Another manic Monday. Just another manic Monday. Field of Steel says the standard is the standard. You got to live with it. Somber Ryan, you missed Tyrone's crash out. It was rather epic, was it really? I bet. I wish I could. Maybe I'll go back and check that out. Which show was it on? I will go check it out. A lot going on this week, and I do apologize. I wanted to get over. We had college football Saturday, big pit game. I'll get into that at the end of the show. Also, the high school games went all the way Friday night, all the Acrisure Stadium games through Saturday, and then NFL. So I do apologize, guys. Let me know when that was. I want to check out the crash out, but I do apologize. Tortilla says that Tyrone, we getting this dub this week. Mike T for life. What's up, man? That's my man Jamal saying this. I'm going to go right here. Lindsay says, do you think that Rooney will change anything, though? The seat has been hot for Tomlin, but what did Rooney do? Extend it? No, you're right. And the thing is, everything all the way up to the last point is correct. Rooney's no less guilty. The only reason to keep saying it is the same reason that we're still chanting fire Bob Nutting for our Pirates. The same reason that we are chanting fire Matt Canada. Because if they listen, you're the consumer, just like I am, just like Jamal, just like Phil, just like everybody on the board. We're the consumer. And let me ask you this, Lindsay, just to be fair, if you went to a restaurant and it was shitty, and you said, but I love this restaurant, I'm going to go back. And then you go back to the restaurant and they mess up your meal. And you're like, well, that's all right. I love this place. I'll be back. And then they come back and you go back and there's a hair in your food. You as the consumer have a choice if you're not satisfied with what it is that you're consuming. And if you feel that, that it could possibly be improved, you do one of two things. You complain or you walk out and never come back. And I think to just kind of sum up, again, I agree with 99% of what was said in that comment. But I don't think we can be complacent. I don't think we should be complacent. And again, this is why Matt Canada got fired mid-season, because the Steeler fans booed him out of the city, basically. And and continue. And last week the college football game day was in Pittsburgh. What happened? An airplane with a flag that says "Fire Bob Nutting" went over top. I don't think all that stuff goes in vain. We could say, well, why keep doing it? They're not changing anything. But if we're complacent, they're definitely never going to change anything. And the Pittsburgh Pirates will continue to be bad for decades and decades. And so that's why. That's why I just want to make that point. Again, not being argumentative in any capacity. I just wanted to give you my opinion. And again, I love the Olive Garden. But if I go there and there's a hair one time, food's wrong the next time, this is wrong, I at some point, you, the consumer, have to become proactive. Or continue just eat bad food and be happy. That doesn't seem logical to me. So that's all I'm trying. That's the only point I was trying to make there. But I do always appreciate your comments, Lindsay. They are always spot on. Thank you. Let's move on here a little bit. Just learning says this: GP going to the Chiefs or going to the Chiefs. Could you imagine? And I got to tell you this: if the Chiefs end up winning the Super Bowl again this year, I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know what I'm going to do if that team ends up pulling it off and getting in it. And come on, Cody rebuilding. I thought they were going all in on the Super Bowl. Where's the all in? Absolutely. I do have a lot of points I'm going to get over in just a moment. I do want to I want to keep up to date on the board because again, it's Monday and I don't want to leave anybody out. We have a lot of things to go over today. Joe, should we have kept Johnston over Waitman? Why didn't that happen? Waitman's contract was smaller. Probably the smaller contract, I'm going to guess, plus the success that Waitman had last year. There wasn't no signs of him really effing up last year. So again, you take all those things and throw them in a bucket. It comes out looking nice. And again, Johnston he's been around the league. He's a veteran and he was one of the better punters for a long time. So of course he does require a little bit more cash. But I think it's performance. The Waitman had no, his punting last year was almost spotless. Yesterday was the first time I really seen a problem. So listen, I'm not going to complain about Waitman. I'm just saying that I observed that he had 3 bad punts, and that's something that he hasn't had yet to this point. So just an observation moving forward. Um, Cody says having a new coach is nice because they're unpredictable, unlike Tomlin, who's been there for 20. And that's a good thing too. When Chuck Noll became stale and predictable, that's what it was. He was stale and unpredictable. Phil says overall grade and F for F the coaches and game ball to boom. TJ Watt. I'm gonna give him his props just like I'm gonna do to everybody else that deserves it. Just give me a few more moments here. Watt only highlight of the game. Somber F a new loaf of bread. We need to find a new stove is what he's saying. Okay, I will check that out. Yesterday's Talking Trash. Would it be the last one? Because I know that there was a couple. I did notice there's been a couple, and 7 hours is good. It takes some time to get through because them guys they put on marathons. And if I'm looking for one particular part, if you could at least give me some kind of general knowledge on that, I will certainly look it up. I'm looking forward to it. Cody says this. I knew Rooney finna take over soon. Scott says this. Let me explain the Steelers' offense. Run the ball, throw it to backs in the flat, short pass to tight ends, hand off to tight ends, and go ball to the outside receivers. A new Rooney finna take over soon, is what Cody's saying. Not a Rooney, a new Rooney. I'm sorry. Just learning. Maybe Rooney should be on the hot seat as well. Jamal, the only pick I missed this week was the Steelers. You know what, Jamal? You are doing great. You're tied with Derpy, I do think. The Steelers effed me again. The Eagles effed me. And then Buffalo effed us all. So you know what? I'm content with the games I lost. I think only two people picked the Steelers to lose, Mike and Derpy. But again, we'll get more into that tomorrow as the week does conclude, and we'll look at all the results tomorrow. Get into that. Tortilla Vanilla Rooney. Cody, LOL, that we need more home games. Jamal, priceless. I can't wait to check it out. Jamal also says this, trash talking with the Steelers gang. Check them out. Absolutely, man. They're a lot of fun. And like I said, they run a marathon over there. Scott says the Steelers don't know how to defend the middle of the field because the Steelers offense doesn't practice throwing over the middle of the field. It's Groundhog Day year after year with this offense. Isn't that crazy? We can't stop it or do it. What's the chances? Tortilla, the middle feels like lava. Scott, a sexy streak not cooked right is a sexy steak. I'm sorry, not cooked right is better than a safe comfort food like mac and cheese all the time. Cody gang. Cody Tyrone went full mic. Oh man, I got to see this. I got to see it. I will be checking it out today. I promise you. Cody, Mike, and Tyrone probably playing Madden on rookie right now. On rookie. What's up next, son? 64. I do want to say welcome to the show. Great to have you on the board. Hope you had a good weekend. Somber, yeah, it was right after the game ended. They did a watch party about 4. Okay, gotcha. Appreciate that, my man. I will check it out. Scott says, look at all the ex-Steeler players doing well after they leave the Steelers. Pickens, Dotson, Spillane, Dante Jackson. What's the deal, guys? What's going on? Kyle Duggar just dropped another interception. Just in. Also, Cody says this. JPJ starting to rub off on Kyle Duggar. Keep JD. Well, JPJ had an interception. That was just, again, one step forward, 2 steps back all day long. We couldn't catch a break. And again, they were penalized more than we were, but it was all day long with us. It was every time we made a good play. EXP Bless, how you doing, my man? Great to see you back on the terrible board. He says, hey, what's up, Steeler fans here? We need to get Big Ben in coaching staff. What do you think? You know what? Hey, could it be any worse, guys? I don't know. Kyle Rubber is what Tortilla is calling Duggar. Kyle Nubber Also, Somber is calling him. A lot of things to get into, guys. Let me get into just a few of these headlines. Then we're going to get into some numbers. We're going to see how this game played out yesterday, how things looked as far as players, how things looked as far as teams. We won the possession. I believe we had more offensive plays, I think is what it was, than the other team, which was the first time that happened all season. A lot to get into today, so stick around, guys. We do have a lot to get into. Let me start. Let's look right here. J.J. Watt, even on national television, or not national, but whatever that, I think national television, right? He called out the offense for never throwing the ball over the middle of the field. Plus, they had no linebackers, guys. Why? What? They came in without missing their middle three, their three starting linebackers. And then they lost three linebackers. Again, it was practice squad guys and peanut guys were guys playing linebacker, yet we couldn't capitalize on that. All right, let me just a couple things real quick, couple accolades. TJ Watt, he did have his 25th strip sack since 2017. So I do want to give a little love where love is due and credit where credit is due. We're talking the bad. We're going to talk the good as well. Guys, TJ Watt, he did have the play at the beginning of the game that caused the fumble, which was picked up by Herbig and was a touchdown scored for us. That was his 25th strip sack since 2017. In the time that we had no playoff games won, he's had 25 strip sacks. Yes, we complain he makes a lot of money, and he does. He should be getting more for what he's getting paid, and he should. But again, who the fuck has 25 strip sacks? Unless, come on, that's crazy number. So again, got to give the accolades where they're due, as I am going to give the shit where it's due. And again, we're going to try to do it as well as we can and see what we can figure out here. We still got to go over a lot of things today, guys. So do stick around. Let me see what else I have. Oh, here. Also, going back into last week, a few things. Ramsey was fined $14,491 for retaliated on being spit on last week. They decided to fine him $15,000 because somebody spit on him. Let me tell you, go up to NFL office, go up to New York, and go in and spit on somebody. Let's see if they're as nice to you. I guarantee somebody attacks you. I guarantee somebody tackles you. I guarantee you get drug out by your face. I don't care if it's on the field of play. The guy spit on another guy. In my opinion, I think that this fine is 100% retarded. Again, fined $15,000 for pushing somebody back after they spit on him. I don't know. I'm telling my kid to get suspended. I'm telling my friends to get fired. If somebody spits in your face, nobody's just going to stand there. And yet he got $15,000. Come on. ESPN odds for Pittsburgh to make the playoffs is at 50%, which is higher than people think that it should be still at this point. But other people still think that, that's lower than where it should be. ESPN at this point still has 50% to make the playoffs. James Pierre's snap count shows that he's the new starter. That's right. Even with Darius Slay back from injury, Pierre's snap count was higher. He had a nice punch out on the sideline. Guy caught the ball. Pierre punched it out. Was an incomplete pass. So I'm content so far with what's going on with Pierre. Again, working his way up the ladder, and Slay not quite doing what we thought he was going to since coming over. Guys, remember, we're 11 games in. So anything that's said now, you have enough season to back it up. If you have a problem with the way this guy played, or you think that this guy's playing well, it isn't like earlier, we're like, well, he only played 4 games, and 1 game was against this team, and blah, 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 blah. At the end of the day, guys, we got 6 games left. This is the stretch. The time for excuses is done. The time for getting the small stuff done fixed is over. You got to play your best football right now, or this turns into another stretch, just like every year for the Pittsburgh Steelers. We lose, we'll lose, and not make the playoffs. Or if we get it, again, we're at that point. I'm just putting it right there. What we do beyond here, it still remains to be seen. But 6 weeks left, guys. Let's see what we got. We're still over 500. We're still in first place technically, down by the tiebreaker, of course. In a division that's bad, and you got to admit, I knew the Ravens would get back in it, but they're not a good football team. I mean, the Jets held them all game. I mean, it was almost until it was later in the game. I think, till the Ravens pulled out away on that one. So again, by the luck of the draw, we are still in this thing, because the division is so bad. It's a tough division, but not a really good football playing division this year. Here's one for you. Mason Rudolph, Steelers. This is what Mason says after the game. The Steelers still remain very confident. The Steelers still remain very confident in this team moving forward. The Steelers still remain very confident. Again, Steelers are last in the NFL. Completed air yard average under 3.5 yards. What else? What else do we got here? And I do want to move on because we got to get into the numbers. We do have to get in the grades for the day for the team, guys. So again, stick around. I'm going to need your help figuring out a game ball, if you will, as well. Trying to figure out what the hell happened as the Steelers lose. They lose to, I don't know, whoever the hell we just played. I do know this. We got Buffalo this week, guys. The Steelers are 6-5. The Baltimore Ravens are 6-5. They have the tiebreaker. Cincinnati's 3-8. Cleveland's 2-6. We just lost 4 games in our last 6. And of course, the Chicago Bears is who we played. Let me get into some of these numbers. Let's look at what went down in this particular game. Number-wise, this is where it starts to make sense, I think. For the most part, it seems to always help a little bit looking at numbers. So let's do this. If I can pull it up, I'm going to grab a couple comments before I do so as things are pulling up. Right here. Right here, Just Learning says, since Smith likes tight end so much, they should promote Muth to head coach. Big Pun, what's up, bro? Always great seeing Big Pun on the terrible board. Kyle Duggar is a missed tackling, interceptions, dropping machine. Scott said the defensive backs are eating buttery popcorn before the game in halftime. No hands. Lindsey said he has blame, but the ball absolutely. And my problem with that is this, though, and again, Lindsey, because I agree, I don't disagree with you, and I think these kind of conversations need to be had. What do you do about a owner who's not accomplishing what we need him to? You see what I'm saying? The position's easy, but ultimately, when your food is consistently bad at Olive Garden, you just have to stop going. Can we handle the Olive? You know what I'm saying? The entity of the Steelers itself is where it becomes difficult. It's tough. It's tough. It's difficult to try to figure out. But again, at the end of the day, something has got to be had. Otherwise, we're going to keep going back to Olive Garden and having shitty things happen to our food. But how do we tackle the owner? How do we, that's where it's tougher. But I guess we're doing it with Bob nodding over across the street. So maybe it should be the same thing. We should be going after him as well. But the shit certainly runs downhill. Not much that isn't the blame as far as, again, from top to the bottom. There's not a lot of good going on in this team, and it's not getting better at any point. And that's the problem. Nothing is always good. The fact that we're having the hardest time just rebounding to again, almost a decade of not winning a playoff game is just the ultimate number to me. That tells me a story, a big story. And the story is things have to change because it's just not getting better no matter what we do. Different players, different GMs. I mean, trying to oust the Rooneys from the Steelers is like, I would think would be very difficult. But again, we do it to Bob Nutting. So, maybe you're right. Maybe we should be coming down a little bit more hard on him. The fact of the matter, he's not on the field. You know what I mean? He's not as easy as a target. And it's easier to get the guy that's out there, the face, if you will. Somber says, again, running all over them for free in the first half. So naturally we start throwing it more. I know. I said last week, I said, you know what? You got to pound Warren, pound Washington, because in the fourth quarter, they're not going to want to tackle you anymore. If you have to tackle Washington for 3 straight quarters, believe me, they're not going to want to tackle him late in the game when it counts. He gets 2 throws to him. Either Joe, if Rudolph starts at home against Buffalo, he'll spot Buffalo 21 points and they'll lose by 3 religiously because that's what Rudolph does. Either it's his plans or Tomlin's, doesn't matter. Just Learning, love my Steelers. Absolutely. At the end of the day, I do too, man. We're just all frustrated. This is frustrating. Are we spoiled? No. Absolutely not. When you don't win a playoff game in 10 years, that's not being spoiled. That's just wanting to be an average, being a little bit better of an average team. I don't think that's too much to ask for. Cody, Lindsay, my dog. Yeah, absolutely. Lindsay rules. Her comments are always awesome. And that's why I do want to make sure I try to make sense when I'm giving a response. Big Pun says Kyle Duggar sucks shit. He actually upgraded the secondary. That speaks volumes as how terrible we are. And isn't it crazy? We've never made this many moves to make our defense better. As far as by name, by player, it has never been. We've never made this much attempt. So what is going on? Miami, Ramsey was doing good in Miami. Slay was doing good in Philadelphia. One's a Super Bowl winner. One was the worst team in the league. Yet these guys were still performing at a higher level there. Let's get into some numbers, guys, if you will. Let's pull up. I'm pulling up my Steelers team stats right here. We're going to get into it. Steelers outgained the Bears on offense, guys. Just bear with me. Steelers outgained the Bears 345 yards to 328 yards. So do what you want with that. Passing yards, we were outpassed 229 to 159. However, rushing, we outrushed them 186 to 99. Yards per play, the Bears 5.4 yards, Steelers 5. See, again, this is a winnable game. A totally winnable game. Nothing is saying that the Steelers couldn't or shouldn't have won. This is totally winnable. First downs, we outgained them 22 to 19. Third down efficiency, we go 8 for 14. They go 7 for 13. Again, even. And I said last week, it's going to be a 3-point game. I was saying 30, I don't remember what it was, 33 to 31, whatever I picked. It ended up being a 3-point game. And I knew that this would be in that area because this is a team that's very similar to us. And again, whichever team the ball got the bounces a little bit more, was going to win. And you know what? It was a 3-point game, and that played out. And we had a chance to win this football game. We just didn't. Fourth down efficiency, we were 1 for 3. The Bears were 1 for 1. Total plays, here it is. The first time all year we had more plays than the opposing team. 69 plays for the Steelers, 61 plays for the Bears. We allowed 2 sacks. They allowed 1. And what else? Get to the quarterback. Apply pressure. We got 1 sack. It's an expensive defense, guys. We should be doing a little better than that, right? They lost 2 fumbles. We lost 1 fumble. We threw a pick. They threw none. We had a better time of possession. Again, very rare grounds for us. 33 minutes and 9 seconds for the Steelers, 26 minutes, 51 seconds for the Bears. Red zone attempts, both teams were 3 for 3. Very evenly matched game, very evenly matched teams. Officiating was shitty on both sides. And again, a totally winnable game that we could have won. We just didn't win this football game. I felt this was a very important football game. This is a football game that you might have wanted to win before getting into Buffalo and getting into Baltimore and Detroit and Baltimore and even Cleveland. Division games are always tough. Let's look at let's look at individual numbers, guys. Mason Rudolph goes 24 for 31, 171, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, sacked 2 times, a rating of 86.9 on the day. Kenneth Gainwell, 10 carries, 92 yards. Jalen Warren, 18 carries, 68 yards, 1 touchdown. DK Metcalf even getting a rushing touchdown on the shuffle pass. He gets 2 carries, technically for 12 yards and a touchdown. Jonnu Smith, big day, 2 catches for 7 yards. I asked last week, what is his well, he had good players around him in Miami. They were Miami. I don't care. Jonnu Smith has done nothing. He's done less than nothing. I said, he's got to come out and do something this week. He came out and got 2 catches for 7 yards for a long of 4 yards. 4 yards, guys. So all the tight ends we have, it was supposed to be this great scheme, this offense. This is what we're doing. I'm sorry, that was runs. Let me get to his passes. He did a little bit better with the passes. He has 3 catches for 21 yards. I'm sorry. But his runs, he did run a couple times for 7 yards. And again, that's the playmaker that we were bringing in, so we didn't have to have a wide receiver too. Now let me get to the receivers, guys. Calvin Austin III, Leading the way in yards for the day for the Steelers receivers with 36 yards. 4 catches. Kenneth Gainwell tied DK Metcalf for leading receiver on the team. With his 6 catches and DK's 5, Kenneth Gainwell now is in the lead, tied with DK Metcalf for receptions on the team, which the last time this was done was 1994 when John L. Williams did it for the Steelers. But with his 6 catches for a total of 30 yards over DK's 5 catches for 22 yards, that ties him going into week 13. Darnell Washington, 2 targets. He catches both of them for 22 yards. Ben Skoranek even has a catch, 1 for 21. Freiermuth, 3 catches, 19 yards, and a touchdown. And Roman Wilson, no catches on 2 targets. Defense, let's take a look at what went on in defense. Jalen Ramsey leads the way. 9 total tackles on the day, 3 tackles, 6 combined. Looking for force. Okay, there's a forced fumble by Watt, fumble return by Herbig in the end zone. I'm sorry about that. Y.A. Black forced fumble and a fumble recovery. Keshawn Williams back returning the ball. I like seeing that. Again, putting us back, again, just a little bit of hope on the kickoff return. And then also Corliss Waitman averaged 35 yards per kick yesterday. I'm no punter, but I guarantee come on, 35 yards. So, yes, we had our issues. No 2 ways about it. This was a winnable game, a totally winnable game. We could have won. Maybe we should have won. It didn't happen that way, but that is how things are right now. We fall out of the playoff spot. Matter of fact, we dropped 5 spots by losing 1 game. We were sitting in the playoff spot, a division-winning playoff spot, which awards you a home game in the first round. We fell out, and now we were within the teams that are in the hunt, not wild card teams. We're in the hunt. This is what that's what the playoffs look like right now. Again, I think this is a year for a team like the Steelers to be able to take advantage. Not a lot of great football teams that are playing good football this year. Denver with the defense, Indianapolis with their offense. Bills ain't what they usually are. Chiefs ain't usually what they are. This would be a good year for a team like the Steelers, but we're just not able to. We're not even able to hang in there, guys. So let's hope things get better. But at the end of the day, unless we come out and beat Buffalo, we're sitting at 6-6. And as I said, if the Ravens beat Cincinnati now on Thursday night, now not only do we have the tiebreaker loss, we'll be behind them a game. So this is how necessary it is to beat Buffalo to stay even in it, which means that's how important the Chicago Bears game was and why I went on and on and on and on and on and on and on last week about how important it was to beat Chicago. I would have put my best foot forward. I would have put Aaron Rodgers at quarterback. I would have did everything I would have needed to do to win that football game. But them stupid Steeler fans, they keep showing up and filling the stadiums. They keep buying our product. They keep buying our jerseys. Why fix things? Why should we feel a urge to fix things here? They're going to still come here to eat our food. There was a hair in it. They're coming back. They messed up the order. They'll be back. There was mold. Let me grab some more of these comments, guys. Again, I don't want to get too far behind on the terrible board. Mark Malone, Duggar's becoming tainted by Tallman already. Just learning again. I don't even make $15K a year. That's rich money. You know what I'm saying? Cody says if someone spit on me and I would be waiting outside the locker. Absolutely. It wasn't like he went out and got a bat and beat the crap out of him. He got spit on, so he shoved the guy. And for one, if you're going to call it a punch, you also have to remind everybody that the guy had a helmet on when that moment happened. He spit through the face mask. So if you want to call it a punch, it's fair, but you have to mention that the other guy had a helmet on. Otherwise, it sounds a lot worse than it is. And I think you could justify maybe giving somebody a $15,000 fine if they don't have a helmet on. I've literally seen a guy take a guy's helmet off and beat him over the head with it. Cody said, if somebody spit on me, okay, we waiting on the outside of the locker room. Somber said, this is the stretch, guys, and we pulled a hammy. Joe, I don't know how anyone would retaliate against somebody who spits on you. Actually, anywhere else, it's assault and a arrestable offense. Absolutely. Where is that acceptable anywhere in this country? Please tell me. Big Pun says that the Steelers cutting their eyelids off for the final stretch. Gamewell, get your game ball, Somber. You know what? That's a good place to start. Scott says, I will eat buffalo wings for dinner if the Steelers beat the Bills, but I'll have a pot pie on standby. Smart man. Jamal, I'm confident in my team. Also follows it up by saying facts. Kenny G balling. Absolutely, man. You got to consider Kenny G when you're looking at game balls. Rooney Tunes, Tortillas saying, Somber, Dylan Gabriel has cleared concussion protocol. Shador is named QB1, and Shador is expected to start for the Cleveland Browns. And I think rightfully so. Hey, he's undefeated as a Brown starter. Do what you want with that. It's the Browns. Jamal Mason sucks. Again, I think he's a solid backup. And again, if the team don't have to prepare for him all week long, the way they didn't last week, it allows him to come in and be more successful. If you just get somebody that doesn't have the skill set of those other guys as a top guy, they're easy to they're certainly easy to prepare for. More easy to prepare for. Check down Mason is what Jamal's calling him. I mean, hasn't that been us in a nutshell for the past 5 years? We've been one of the most check downingest teams I've ever seen, man. And I've never seen this in my life. It's insane. Somber, pretty sure before the season started, I said Flacco would be out by week 4 and we'd play Shador in our second game against them. Call me now on for your Palmaclat reading. Guys, I agree. I thought that they should have been going with him a lot longer. I mean, come on. You know what? They're penalizing him. And listen, here's what's going on. The kid was as arrogant as can be. He had his own stage set up for draft day with his own throne and crown. This is what's happening. Come on, the league wanted to humble the kid. Otherwise, there's literally no explanation. There's literally no explanation beside he was way over his head coming into the league. And I think maybe the smartest thing that they could do was humble the. Come on. If he would have started from day one and was terrible and got hurt and been done by now, and I'm not against it. I'm for Shador. I like seeing him play over there. And again, I don't think what happened was terrible. I just think that again, he had his own throne at draft day. I just think that the league probably looked down on that. Just saying, as all these guys are coming in, yeah. Phil the Steel says that Ryan, Tallman, Austin, and Smith lost this game. They were out coached. They were. Somber says, I hate that the media is gassing the Bears for beating us by 3 with a backup quarterback. Yeah, I mean, come on. The Bears are still going to be the Bears. They're not great. They're not winning no Super Bowl. I can promise you that. Fuck, they're playing good football for once. Give them a fucking trophy, right? Tortilla, one small step for Darnell, one giant leap for Calvin Austin. Mark Malone, I'm scared that Tallman is preparing to unleash hell in December again. Feel the belch. Big Pun says Mason sucks, and Will Howard is a smaller, weaker Tim Tebow with worse arm talent. Ay. When you put it like that. Joe, Rooney is a non-participant owner. I don't think he's to blame. Tallman is the past proven to have a good record and make playoffs. You can't fault Rooney for thinking Tallman has it to repeat. The nightmare before Yinzers is what Tortilla is saying. Somber, Big Ben threw some silent shots at Arthur Smith. You know what? I've been digging some of Big Ben's silent shots lately. They've been going around. They really have been going around, and I'm here for it. Somber says I went back and watched his watch party after the game. He mentioned Mason's stats and said they were very close to Aaron's all year, stating that there's not much difference. But you know what? Numbers are one thing, but again, the play of I trust the decisions of Aaron more than the career backup quarterback. That's all. I'm not saying that Aaron went out there and threw 300 yards and threw for 4 touchdowns. We'll never know that. But again, it's just I want the guy who's kind of has the the achievements and knows, he's seen it all. Lindsay says Rooney is the only one with the power that can make a change. I agree. Also, Jamal says, I'm proud of my guys. We played well against a good team. Somber says, and Ben Wind was just as mind-boggled about the final drive as we. I know. We come on, here's the thing. You got to understand there's a separation between the complainers that are going to complain constantly and people that are going to bitch about the stuff that's worth being bitched about. And I think that, again, a lot of things that we say is confirmed. Ben comes in and says the same thing. Or James Harrison coming in and said the same thing. Are these guys wrong? But again, there are toxic fans that are, again, just constantly that are a problem. So, that's one thing that we do have to recognize. We do got to recognize there are different caliber types of fans, if you will. And it's tough because some of them just, that's all they do. They look for reasons to bitch and complain and blame people. Let's move on. Tyrone says, back bums. Jamal says, man, fuck them stats. Mason only throws to Gainwell. Somber says that was his point, Jamal. Scott says, as much as we want to badmouth Donovan Smith, what would he be doing in New England? He'd probably be a top receiver in New England. Apparently, he was that in Miami. He had the 85 catches last year. Tortilla. Darren Walker hasn't played for multiple weeks and is still having a better season than Jonnu Smith. Somber, check down, dink and dunk, regardless of the quarterback. Yeah, that isn't going to get us far, is it, guys? Why? Tyrone, season over. We're not winning shit. LOL. Bills, Ravens, Dolphins, Lions, Browns, Ravens. Laughing my ass off. Whimsy says, we can't beat Buffalo playing how we are. It's tough to beat Buffalo when we're playing good or better. You know what I mean? If we beat Buffalo, fantastic. And I hope we do, and I'll be there for it, and I'm cheering the whole time just like everybody else is. But not many games this season that I looked past and said, let's start thinking about the Ravens. But the team shouldn't. We as fans can. And again, I don't like, we don't match up well against Buffalo. We just don't. Right here. Tortilla Boswell will lead us to the wild card. Final record 8-9 is what Tyrone is saying. Mark Malone have to win the division. That's all there is to it. Field of Steel. I'm definitely I definitely go back if Peaches is my waitress. She is why there's hair in your food. And Peaches don't drop head hair in the food. Believe me, this is other hairs. You don't want none of that. McLeod. I do want to say welcome to the terrible board. Great to have you. McLeod 5249 says all these tight ends and we can't take advantage of their linebackers and their schematics. When you have no linebackers, the tight ends should be eating. Not eating. They should be stuffing their faces. Phil says my prediction was 7-10. Tyrone, we lost to an injury-prone defense, Bears team. Tyrone, Tallman standard is the standard. LOL. Jamal, I blame all the fans who bought a DK jersey. I pulled something else up, guys. I wanted to talk about this just briefly today, and I think now's a good time. This is why, guys. This is the rap sheet. I happened across it. I didn't even look for this, but we talk about all the time. Why did we trade away George Pickens? It was just not a smart thing to do. We got worse. We could have been better had we kept him. I did at one point over the weekend. Come past this. If I could find it, I'm going to go over his rap sheet. And we're all going to laugh a little bit because it's actually kind of comical. Guys, George Pickens' rap sheet. This is starting in October 2023. Mind you, this is November 2025. So 2 years period of time. Let's take a look at George Pickens' rap sheet. October 2023, Pickens was fined for $8,525 for taunting. Also in October 2023, Pickens was fined $85.25 for a blindside block. In December of 2023, Pickens was fined $16,391 for taunting. In October of 2024, Pickens was fined $10,230 for excessive face masking penalty. October 2024, fined 10,231 for displaying a personal message. December 2024, fined $10,231 for taunting. Again, December 2024, fined $10,231 for an obscene gesture. January 2025, he was fined $10,231 for unsportsmanlike conduct. January 2025, he was fined $22,511 for an excessive face mask. September 2025, fined $14,491 for removing his helmet. Also in September of this year, he was fined $14,491 for making a violent gesture. I don't know what he did. Also, October 2025, fined $11,593 for taunting. In this month, fined $17,389 for taunting. 4 years in the league, fined 13 times. That's why we traded George Pickens. If anybody's wondering, yes, his production is better than all of our wide receivers combined, but make no mistake, that's why George Pickens left. He was a problem. Now he's a problem for other teams in both capacity. But again, that list is insane. He's hurting his team all the time. And you know what? And the thing is, as good as he's having a year in Dallas, look at the times that Dallas was not. They had 3 wins up until like last week. He was doing good, but again, these fines and penalties and come on. That's why George Pickens is no longer a Steeler. I don't think it's any surprise. I really don't. That B, would it be? We'll go right here. Phil says this. Phil says a strip sack, but not only that, a touchdown off of that strip sack. Shit, game ball goes to Watt. Scott says you guys are my Novocaine after Steeler losses. It still sucks, but at least there's a company in my misery. I agree. I agree. I tell the board that every week. We kind of talk it out. You know what I mean? We talk ourselves down off the ledge, if you will. Cody says Mason is the GOAT. Lindsay obviously laughing at that. Tyrone, I'm out. Waste of time talking about this trash-ass team. My man, I hope you have a great day, brother. Tortilla, Shador played all right against a bad defense. I agree he deserves a shot, but it's annoying hearing his fans make 1,000 excuses for him just to say, I told you after one. You're right. You're not wrong. Cody Tyrone playing the Bears in Madden on rookie. Feel the still with the stash chant, if you will. Mark Malone, he sucks. Talking about Sanders, but it's Cleveland. I want the suck the flow, and if that's going to be what it is, then you know what? Damn it, that's got to be what it is. Tortilla, I hope he does good, but I don't see it, and the fans make me strongly dislike him, acting like he's the second coming of Jesus and can't do no wrong. And that's, I think, ultimately, that's why teams didn't want to take the chance on the guy who had a throne on draft day. I'm just saying. A guy that had his number retired at Colorado for having an average career at Colorado. People were just getting tired of it. He was, daddy was getting him accomplishments, and maybe this was, again, the league's way of humbling him, bringing him down to earth, maybe. John says Kansas City fans are complaining and are spoiled. The Steeler fans are just tired. 2009 was a long time ago. That's a good point. When Kansas City fans complain now, they're being spoiled. You're right. Patrick Jones, I do want to say welcome to the show. Patrick says, please don't start Will Howard. Arthur Smith still there. Big Ben would have to be traded. Cody says 11 for 20, 209, 1 touchdown, 1 interceptions. I'm the guy you've been looking for versus the Raiders. McEldew says this. Caleb Williams never even looked at the left side of the field where it was the. Yeah, I know. I know. Where was the adjustments? Bingo says Peach is dropping other hairs into food is making my tongue itchy. Yeah. Me too. Jamal, all this complaining will remind me of my girlfriend. But you know what? It's the good with the bad with the good. If we won, we'd be good talk, and if we lost, it is what it is, man. Again, I I'm glad we have the company is there for the misery, as was just stated on the board. Cody says your girlfriend complains, mine get violent. P.S. I kind of like it. Big pun. Will Howard is a scrub. Ain't no Rutgers on the NFL schedule. Tortilla, damn Cody. Somber says all those fines, and he still gets an absolute bag. That's hey, you know what? He found a loophole, man. I'm telling you, $153,000 for George Pickens fines. I guess, when you make the millions, $153 is a drop in the bucket. What's the incentive for this guy to straighten his shit up? Pickens should have played in the 70s. Tortilla, hey, if you ain't getting beat up for doing stupid shit, is it even a relationship? Cody says. Jamal says this, man, I'm a Dallas fan from now. They got GP. Laugh my ass off. Big Pun says Mason is a cuckold. Steeler Freak says this. GP didn't want to be with the Steelers. He showed up late for a Christmas game. Folks need to wake up. He was going to act a fool until traded. He knows, like all NFL receivers, the Steelers air attack sucks. And then he was supposed to go to like a kids camp or something, and he totally shit on that. And it just wasn't going well. It wasn't going down a good path. Again, would the results be good? Would the production be fantastic? Absolutely. Jamal says just abusive at Cody. Tortilla, Steelers must be in a relationship with the Bears. Somber, don't pull in Izzy, Jamal. Jamal says, dude, late on Christmas. Come on, man. Shador's a scrub. Big pun. Steeler Freak, wide receivers don't want to come to Pittsburgh for a reason. Scott says this. Tallman is the director of Brokeback Mountain. Defense leaves us broke. The mountain on top is too high. Our back is sour from getting bent over by average quarterbacks. Jamal says this. Laugh my fucking ass off. Has more yards than our entire team combined. All the receivers, absolutely. George Pickens, 67 catches, 1,054 yards on the season. Steelers wide receiver room, 84 catches, 1,082 yards. Just 28 more yards than than George Pickens. Bill Todd, I do want to say, welcome to the Terrible Board. Great to have you along on this Monday afternoon. He says, about time for those princes at the Gazette will be telling us to wait until... you're right? I don't know. Yes, I agree. Welcome to the board, Bill. Great to have you. Nice comment. That might be the game ball. You know what? It's still up in the air, but good comment for the game ball of the day. Cody says this. Jesus is my next door neighbor, but we pronounce it Jesus. Guys, let's get into some more. I'm going to go into the scores of every of all the games that went down yesterday. We're going to just blow through those real quick. We're going to get into the games. The grades of the day for the Steelers yesterday, as we are rounding third on the show today. Tortilla says Chris Carter here back with another video. Somber, they play from behind a lot. He has another wide receiver one next to him. He has a quarterback that throws downfield. It's not surprised that he's doing better elsewhere. I couldn't agree more with you on that one. Let me pull up the schedule for yesterday. I'm sorry, the results for yesterday. We'll kind of go through them pretty quick. Again, we'll get more into how they played out tomorrow and the way the results went, because we do have the results coming through as the Week 12 wraps up tonight as Carolina travels out to the West Coast to take on San Francisco on Monday Night Football. So tomorrow we'll get into the results of the CBS Pick'ems and everything of that nature. So let's right now go down through the scores. If you have any comments on any of the scores, any of the games that we do go over and I blow by it, don't forget and don't be afraid to mention it on the board, guys, and we'll certainly touch on it as well. I'm going to start with the very first game of the week was Buffalo. They did take the loss to the Texans and possibly Josh Allen's worst game of the season. Texans win that game 23-19 on Thursday night to kick off the week 12. Here we go. Overtime yesterday, the Chiefs 23, the Colts 20. The Chiefs 23, the Colts 20. Overtime win for the Chiefs. Also, the Seattle Seahawks 30, the Titans 24, the Packers 23, the Vikings 6. Basically, the Vikings switched places with the Bears because all three teams are decent in the NFC North this year. Vikings falling out. I think they have like about 4 wins, if I'm not mistaken, and the Bears up into that spot. So three pretty decent teams coming out of the NFC North this year. Ravens were down at halftime to the Jets, close all game. They ended up winning this one 23-10 in Baltimore. The Lions 34, the Giants 27. Another OT finish. Patriots beat the Bengals 26-20. That was a good game all day until the end there. Browns 24, Raiders 10. Myles Garrett, three more sacks yesterday after having a 4-sack performance last week. 7 sacks in 2 games for Myles Garrett, on pace to shatter the TJ Watt and Michael Strahan tied record. Jacksonville over Arizona 27-24. Another overtime game. Bunch of overtime games yesterday. The Eagles, they dropped the ball. They lose to the Cowboys last night. Yesterday they lose that football game 24-21. Falcons 24-10 over the Saints. The Rams 34-7 over the Buccaneers on Sunday Night Football. And again, tonight, the week wraps up with Panthers at 49ers. That, of course, is an 8:15 start. Let me just look at the top here real quick to see if there is anything that I did that I didn't. Cody says, not right there. Sommer says, Burrow announced he's playing against the Ravens. LOL, might be the dumbest thing ever. Just trying to see if there's anything that was mentioned about these games as I went through, and then we'll get right back at it. I swear to you, Rams are looking like a Super Bowl team. I agree. Rams are looking damn good. They might be the team from the NFC this year. As long as Matthew Stafford keeps throwing the football and playing the way he does, and they look strong right now in the NFC. If you're trying to decide who you like from the NFC, who's the most consistent, it might be the Rams, as the Eagles lose again to a lesser team in their division. A lot of people like the Eagles. The Lions, not quite what they were last year. I'm not taking anything away from that team. I think they're going to be a difficult team for us here in 3 weeks, but 4 weeks, I guess it would be now. But, again, you can't look past the Rams. You cannot look past the Rams. They are looking good. Let me just try to find a couple more. I want to make sure I didn't miss anything through the games. Okay, so there we go. We are caught up on the games. JJ McCarthy, Somber is saying, is in concussion protocol. Vikings just might draft another quarterback. This is, again, guys, we're heading into week 13. Let's get some grades. I'm going to need your help, guys, on the board. Let's do this. Let's get some grades out for yesterday's positions. We're going to grade by position. It's going to be just as you are the teacher with that red pen in your hand. On test day, we're going to give grades to how this team played. I'm going to need your help again on the board today as I'm flying solo. So I'm going to ask for that. I'm going to start at quarterback. We're going to go through all the positions, and we're going to give grades out for how we felt that the Steelers played yesterday. Guys, I'm going to start with the quarterback room. Aaron Rodgers out, of course. They held him out with that slight fracture in his left wrist. They said, that was a chance he could play yesterday. But, Sunday morning we get up, Mason Rudolph gets to go. Guys, what do you give Mason Rudolph, again, on the day for his passing performance? Tortilla saying ass. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to pull up the numbers for what he did, and then I'm going to kind of read them as we go along. Should make it easier for the grading. Mason Rudolph, 24 for 31, 171 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, sacked twice, a rating of 86.9. Lindsay is giving him a big fat red F. Tortilla saying ass. Again, throw your opinions up there, guys. Whatever you think he did, how do you think he did? Throw it up there. Running backs, we're talking Kenneth Gainwell. Kenneth Gainwell had a nice day on the ground if he ran the ball 10 times for 92 yards. No touchdowns, but he also received well. He caught the ball 6 times for 30 yards. And a long of 13. He was targeted 6 times, so 6 of 6 to him. Also, we're going to talk about Jaylen Warren. On the 18 carries, he had 68 yards, 1 touchdown on the day. And that is our running back room and what they did yesterday, guys. Throw what you think about these running backs up for your grade for the day yesterday. Tyrone is saying bum for the quarterback. And you know what? I agree with him. Again, he's a backup. Tortilla, my 17-year-old cat, would throw better. Running backs a B+. Let's move into the running backs, guys. What do you give this running back room for the day? I just gave you the Kenneth Gainwell and, Jaylen Warren. Throw the numbers up there. Throw your grades up there. Tortilla is giving the running back room an A for the day. Somber's giving the running backs a B+ for the day. Again, I would have liked to see it a little bit more with no healthy linebackers. This should have played out a little different in the game, I think. Going over the middle, just taking advantage of what they gave us in the middle with having no professional linebackers playing in their football game. basically. So let's see. The grades are A. Lindsay likes she liked the running backs also with the B. She's giving him Cody an F. I'm not sure if that's going back to the quarterback, which it very well could have. Tyrone with a B. Somber says Cody's an A. You know what is Cody talking about? Is he still back on the quarterback? Maybe the grade. I'm thinking. Let's go to the tight end room. Tight ends on the day look like this, guys. Receiving wise, Darnell Washington 2 catches on 2 targets, 22 yards on the day. Jonnu Smith 3 catches, 21 yards on 3 targets. Pat Freiermuth, 3 catches on 3 targets, 19 yards and a touchdown. And then also out of the backfield, Jonnu Smith gets 2 carries for 7 yards on the day. What do you give the tight end room? And even little Meatwad. I mean, come on, Meatwad got the he's in there on the tush push and things like this. What do we give these tight end buttons? I'm reading the comments as I'm done. What do we give these tight end grades for the day yesterday? Tortilla saying C. What else, guys? What do you give these tight ends for the day? Of course, these were the gameplay. These were the playmakers. This is what we built our team around. Was this team of tight ends? Do you feel that they lived up to the? Are they carrying the load? I think that's what's supposed to be going on. As we were told, we don't need a wide receiver too. We have all these tight ends. What do you grade these tight ends for the day? C. Somber says they weren't used enough. Not their fault. Cody says this. Running backs, I give them a double Fs for fantastic, he's saying. Let me move to the wide receiver room, guys. Let's grade these wide receivers on their performance. DK Metcalf, 5 catches, 22 yards. He is your number one wide receiver. 5 catches, 22 yards. Number 2 on our wide receiver list, Ben Skoranek, 1 catch, 21 yards. This all tight end game plan is really something. I got to tell you. And Roman Wilson, 2 targets, no catches, 0 yards. And Calvin Austin, has 4. He led the way with 4 catches, 36 yards. So, wide receiver room, guys. What do you think? Somber saying D. Big D's. The big D. Bears carried a load all over us. Cody's saying C+ from Mason, from Jamal. Our receivers, guys. What do you give this receiver room? Again, leading the way. Calvin Austin, 4 catches, 36 yards. DK Metcalf, 5 catches, 22 yards. Lindsay's giving the receivers a D. Tortilla saying our tight ends are like the Fantastic Four. Darnell is the thing. Jonnu Smith is the invisible chick. Muth is Johnny Storm. And Hayward is Mr. I love it. Tortilla, you may have just won the game ball for the day on the terrible board. You just might have. That was pretty brilliant. Our tight ends are like the Fantastic Four. Darnell is the thing. Jonnu Smith is the invisible one. That's good stuff, man. Good stuff. Creative. Love it, man. Lindsay gave him a D. Tortilla, a C for the tight ends. The wide receiver room. Lastly, on offense, guys, offensive line. Big Bro Busterus goes out with the Stingers. His replacement came in and did okay. I thought that the offensive line... Listen, the offensive line is playing average at best. They're not allowing our quarterback to get killed. They're not allowing our runs to get stopped in the backfield. But beyond that, they're not really setting the world on fire. They're not creating, consistent holes to make big plays. And a lot of times, especially when Aaron Rodgers is in there, you see him running around and getting the hell out of Dodge. So they're playing a little bit better than average, I think, but they still have to grow as a group moving forward. Again, first year, Vatanu's been healthy all year. He was out his whole entire rookie season. A couple of the guys starting as rookies last year. So, again, the offensive line is still coming along. I don't love the offensive line's production, but I do feel that they are working for the greater cause and getting better as we move forward. Tyrone is giving the offensive line a C-, and also Somber is giving the offensive line a C- as well. Fatanu did have a good game, I agree. But, again, just I would say a little bit better than average at best. Nothing great at this point. Let's get to the defensive side of the ball, guys. The defensive line. Do we stop the run well enough for you? Do we get enough pressure on the quarterback? Do we stuff the holes and the gaps to make things happen? Kind of, sort of, but not really. What do you give the defensive line? Tight ends. Jamal is saying he's giving them a C-. Phyllis Steele says Steelers are coached like Three's Company. Tomlin is Jack, Smith is Janet, and Austin is Christy. Killing it, my man. Jamal laughing his ass off. Somber Jamal on a 2-minute delay. Austin is Chrissy. Phil is Steele. Cody's giving a D to the defensive line. And, of course, yeah, Jamal. He's a word. Got to do his thing, man. Let's get to the linebackers. Linebackers of the day, guys. How did our linebackers look? Wilson, Queen, Watt, Herbig. D-line gets a D+, is what Tortilla is saying. Jamal says 5 catches for 22 yards. That's our number one receiver, dude. That's our number one receiver. Defensive linebackers. So some linebackers grades. I'm going to start linebackers get a D+2 from Tortilla. I'm also going to bleed this into the secondary. How did the secondary look, guys? How did the coverage look? Pierre, is he still holding up for everybody? Joey Porter got hurt. Of course, he had an interception, which was called back. It certainly fell into that theme of 1 step forward, 2 steps back all day, didn't it? You know, secondary. What do you think about them guys? Them safeties. Jalen Ramsey. Eccles. Duggar. Tyrone says Steelers are like drug addicts, hella different emotions. Yeah. Somber, the defensive line, gets a C+ from me. Did okay stopping the run. Linebackers get a D, and a secondary gets a D as well. That's from Somber. Also, Tortilla says DBs get a D+2. Field of Steel said that's a terrible OC. Week 12, and number one receiver doesn't even have 1,000 yards. Let's go over to the special teams. How do you feel special teams played? Cordless Waitman, certainly his worst game as a Steeler. It wasn't nothing devastating. That's the good thing. The part that worries me is that it was consistently bad through the game. Wonder what was going on. Does he have any issues going that we don't know about? Maybe injuries, I don't know. But certainly Corliss Waitman's worst game as a Steeler punter. It didn't kill us. You'd like for them punts to go further instead of giving them the ball at midfield. But listen, I'm not going to blame the game on Corliss Waitman, but for some reason, when I'm talking about the special teams, he's certainly, his numbers, his stock was down this week for whatever reason that was. It was nice to see Sean Williams back in there returning kicks. What else? Chris Boswell. I mean, there wasn't a whole lot. There was no block punts, anything of any, unless I'm forgetting. If there's something I'm forgetting, please remind me on the board. It happens from time to time. Let's see. D-line C's, linebackers F, secondary F. That's from Tyrone. Lindsay saying Tyrone really mad Joey Porter Jr. got hurt. How about this, guys? Down to the last 2 in our grades. We got to finish out this report card because it's Bills week. We got to start getting ready for the Bills. We're not going to go on too much into the week about this particular game, but we got to get it in. What's the grades for the coaching, guys? This is the one I know everybody was waiting for. How did the coaching do? How do you grade the coaching? I'm talking head coach. I'm talking offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator, special teams coach. Give me a grade for the coaching. Not one guy, not your favorite, not your least favorite. Let's be fair. Offense, defense, head, special teams. What's your grade on coaching for the day? Throw that up on the board. And then we will wrap it up with the overall. After that, Somber is saying an F for the coaching for the day. It's just a stale, and that's what it is. Offense feels, it's just, nothing feels right. What's going on with this team? And again, I haven't seen this team add players the way that it did. So in theory, things should be getting better to some degree, right? Tyrone says this. Tyrone says, fuck this trash ass, bum ass, coach ass team, awful run organization ass team. And you know what? I like that. I like that sentence. Truth says this. Truth, Thong Steelers are a lifeless team just playing for money. Tortilla says this moving train is easy to hop on. Guys, overall, what do you give your Pittsburgh Steelers for yesterday, guys? What do you give your Pittsburgh Steelers overall for their performance against the Chicago Bears? Again, I think this was a winnable game. I think this is a game that we should win. We should have won. One step forward, two steps back, killed us all day, in my opinion. Again, anytime we made a play, a touchdown got called back by DK Metcalf blocking a guy by holding the outside of his shoulder pads. You know your hands can't be outside like that. What? He's a receiver. He's a pro football player. Some things should be common knowledge again in pros, and got a touchdown called back. And again, throughout the course of the game, this was the case. Officiating was terrible. I'm not blaming officiating. I just want to throw that out there one more time. I think the officiating was equally as bad the whole way across the game, and I think that it needs to be fixed just to make the game better. A couple plays in particular that I did mention earlier in the show that could certainly prove that. Overall, guys, throw your grades up there, and we'll wrap up the grading for the week. Tortilla says coaches get a MIA grade, maybe incomplete. Is that? I think that's what some kids go by. Tyrone says, remember, guys, 8th grade, last time we won a playoff. Ay. Jamal says, did Darius Slay look like he was waking up from a nap when he got put in the game for Joey Porter Jr.? Right? Vegas, what's up, bro? I'm glad to catch Vegas this afternoon. Vegas says this, the dropped interception before the half ended up as 3 points for the Bears. Okay. Tyrone says, love y'all. I'm just over it. Lindsay, wonder the noise in Pittsburgh. Sombria, I think both teams would agree that the officiating was bad. And Lindsay, I think, come on, if there's not a team that's disappointed in this in the officiating this year, are they really playing football? It makes you wonder. So that is, guys, that is the grading for the day. Also, who is your game ball? I think an easy one for the most production on the day, in my opinion, is Kenneth Gainwell. He's the only one that seemed to go out and have a solid game, certainly on offense. Throw a couple choices and opinions up on the board for who your game ball goes to in this loss to the Bears. Again, 31-28, the Steelers lose. Again, the 5th time this season they let up over 30 points. That's not the sign of a good defense. It really isn't. Guys, 5 games, they let up over 30 points all season. So what is going on? We all want to know what the hell is going on, what we got to do to figure this thing out and to right this train. TJ Watt Gainwell, I think Tyrone is who is saying the game ball. Of course, TJ Watt with the great strip sack, I guess you would call it, in the end zone, causing the touchdown by Nick Herbig. And got to tell you, man, how fast did he throw Caleb Williams down? Because at one point you're looking at him getting ready to get tackled, and I thought he's gonna throw that ball away or whatever. TJ, once he snatched him up, man, he tackled his ass, and he tackled him fast, and that allowed the ball to come out. It was just again, as it started to play out, I'm thinking this is going to be effed up. He's going to toss it away, or something's going to happen to get them out of it. I like the way that played out. So yes, that absolute ragdoll for sure. Somber, I think, is a good way to put it. But maybe TJ. I think Gainwell just consistently did it through the game more. But when it comes down to it, that was a big, it could have been a big game-changing thing, and it could have been, it would have been, it was sort of, but it wasn't because we lost. I got to give my game ball to Gainwell. Again, nothing spectacular throughout the day, but his day looked like this. Kenneth Gainwell led the way on the ground, 10 carries, 92 yards for a total of 9.2 yards per carry, along of 55, and also receiving Kenneth Gainwell 6 catches, 30 yards on the day, on six throws to him. He didn't miss anything. 6 for 6, 30 yards on the in the air, 13-yard long. My game ball goes to Kenneth Gainwell for the day. Tyrone says, and people wanted TJ Watt traded when we were 1-11 without him. That's a good point as well. And again, bum-ass franchise Tyrone. Guys, we're about to get into the trivia of the day. Do stick around, guys. We're live 5 days a week right here, Monday through Friday, 11:30 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. every day right here on the tube. And don't forget to check us out at our website over www.the2dumyinzers.com. That's www.the2dumyinzers.com. Everybody, put on your thinking caps. Get ready. It is time for trivia of the day. We are officially making the transition over from Bears Week to Bills Week. And today is going to be a Buffalo Bills trivia question, if you will. How well do you know your enemy? How well do you know your opponent? Guys, here we go. Put on your thinking caps. Everybody on the board, everybody at home. This is the question of the day. We're going to start simple. It's Monday. What's Coach Tomlin's record versus the Buffalo Bills? The hint is we've played them 9 times under Coach Tomlin. Take a minute to think that over, guys. 9 games played. What is Coach Tomlin's record? against the Buffalo Bills. While we're thinking about that, let me sneak back in here and get a couple of these messages that I might have missed as I was talking about grades and all other kind of things. I do not, again, want to miss out on anybody on this afternoon, after the Steelers played the Bears. Cody says Jamal has Tourette's yesterday during the live stream. Fuck shit came on. Mason Garbage, how are you doing today? Sir, this is Jamal with Smith and Morgan. How's your day? Tortilla, we could have won, and Tyrone still just be mad that JPJ got hurt. Let me scoot up a little bit here. Tortilla, this moving train is easy to hop on. Tyrone, I appreciate this. Right? I appreciate it. It means a lot, man. He says, no, I'm just here for Ryan. Also, Tyrone says, we got that one. Week 11. There we go. Back on it. Vegas is week 11, and we're still talking about communication errors. Guys. You're right. Some of the problems we're having right now is not a sign of a good team. If you're still having fundamental issues week in, week out, we're just not playing good football. It's just what it is at this point. Make sure I didn't miss anything. Kenny Pickett gets Tortilla's game ball. Tyrone, Jamal says Tyrone, a Browns fan. Just ask Ali. Jamal, y'all dumb as hell. Love that. Tortilla, the team will get things together in the divisional round. We just have to make it there. Again, you don't lose in January if you don't make it to January. Patrick Jones, please don't play Will Howard until Arthur Smith is gone. Tyrone should at this point at least a trash. We think we're good though. Bingo, 5-4, 1 over 500. Somber, PFF updated the draft order. We're at 16 now. Jamal, overall, I'm impressed. We're not a good team, but we still fought till the end. The Bears have the best offense in the NFL since week 3. Mike Tomlin gets the game ball by Cody. Tyrone, mind you, they won a playoff game before us. In fact, everybody did. Most teams did. A lot of teams have won playoff games in the last 8 years. Vanello's mourning the loss for his team. His team got beat 171-120. But you know what? Penn State did win their game, so maybe Vanello's in a good mood. I'm not sure. And Tyrone says this. See, that's embarrassing. Browns has a more recent playoff win than us, and Tomlin had the killer bees. It was against us. That doesn't make it any better, right? Fearless Steel says, what the fuck did you just say at Ryan? You just don't know January until you... Yeah, you don't have to worry about losing in January if you don't qualify to play in January. So that's a way to avoid losing in January. So let's get back to the question of the day, guys. Let's see what you guys thought. Let's see what we have. The question of the day: what's Coach Tomlin's record against the Buffalo Bills? He's coached 9 games against the Buffalo Bills. What do you think his record is as of right now? Throw your answers up on the board. I'll take a look at some of the answers, and we'll get we'll reveal what the answer is. Scott says, could somebody give old Cam a new tampon? I can't stand to hear him talk anymore. Again, that's a lot of money. That's a lot of money for a guy to get injured on his week off. I don't know how you going to get injured on your week off. He was off all week with rest days. He ended up with an ankle injury on Friday. Make it make sense. Tyrone says this, 2-7 probably after 9 games. Lindsay says probably won 1 out of the 9. Guys, question of the day. How well do you know your enemy? How well do you know your opponent? Segment of the show. What's Coach Tomlin's record versus Buffalo in 9 games coached, guys? His record is 3-6. 3-6 against the Bills in those 9 games up to this point. So we will either be 4-6 or 3-7 or 3-6-1. I guess that's a possibility as well. Highly unlikely, but be the case. That be the case. What else we going to do? What else we got to say? I do want to say a few things, guys. The Pitt Panthers with the big win, of course. My favorite college football team. They go down to number 16 Georgia Tech. They walk in their house. They wreck shop. They leave. On the road, double-digit win over a ranked team, the Pitt Panthers 42 over number 16 Georgia Tech 28. The Pitt Panthers will play Miami at home this weekend, and it's a big weekend, guys, as they wrap up their regular season in the ACC. They need a little help. The Virginia team and the SMU team in the conference, they could lose. That could help us out, guys. But first off, nothing matters unless we beat Miami. That game's at noon on Saturday. Penn State did get the win, guys, over Nebraska. They win 37-10. They'll be playing at Rutgers as they wrap up their Big Ten schedule this Saturday at 3:30. The other soccer team in Pittsburgh, they win the championship. Or the other football team, our soccer team in Pittsburgh, the Pittsburgh Riverhounds win the championship, guys, as they beat Tulsa. It was a 0-0 game. They win in the shootout. They win 5-3. USL champions. The Gold City of Champions is back, if you will. They are a professional sports team here in Pittsburgh. Not one of the main three, but the Pittsburgh Riverhounds soccer team does win the USL championship over the weekend. Good for them. Congratulations. And finally, the Pittsburgh Penguins do a little bit of shitting of the bed themselves, guys, as the Penguins drop both games this week. On Friday, they get shut out by the Wild. On Saturday, they lose to the Kraken 3-2 in overtime. The Penguins sit at 10-6-5. They'll be back at it on Wednesday evening when they host the Buffalo Sabres. Wednesday at 7 o'clock p.m. And as I did say earlier, I do want to say congratulations to all the WPIAL teams as you do move forward into the state playoffs in high school football coming up. Great weekend by our teams. This weekend, let's head out east, start kicking those Eastern teams' asses, and bring home the gold back to the western part of the state. A couple things. You know what? I'm going to grab a couple messages, and we are going to start wrapping things up here, guys. I'm going to go right here. Jamal, Tyrone is making me depressed. Tyrone says we let Peyton Elboy torch us. Wait till Allen. Bingo says Cam injured pushing that full cart of giant. Hey, right? How many times am I going to see these commercials with him and Meatwad filling their carts with food? Jeez, oh man. So I see more of that than I see him making plays on the football field. It's insane. Feel the steel. Teflon Dawn sucks. Jamal, gang. Y'all funny as fuck. I swear I love you. We love you too, brother. Always great seeing Jamal. Tortilla Browns ain't shit. They ain't doing nothing. We get mad when we lose in the playoffs. Their Super Bowl was a wild card. Their Super Bowl's a win over us in the regular season. Believe me. They treat that's the same way. I've seen it happen. It's insane what they do up there. Bingo says, you know goddamn well that soccer doesn't count. Deserving for a game ball on the board, and I don't know who's going to debate that. We know which football is king, right? But we love our hounds. We do love our hounds. They're good on them, and congratulations to them. Tyrone says, but I'm out of love. But I'm out. Love you, Ron. Good show, Ganger. Fuck this team. We ain't. Hey, my man. Great seeing you as well, Tyrone. Always great having you on the Terrible Board, sir. Hope your day goes well, and hope to see you back tomorrow. I'll be heading over today to check out the big crash out from yesterday. Jamal, damn, Tortilla wouldn't be a rivalry if they didn't win once every once in a while. That's true. And Jamal says, I need Tallman to stop being black so I can jump on the fire Tallman bandwagon. That might be the game. You know what? Multiple game balls go out today. You guys are killing it on this Monday. That was really good as well. Phil says, cheers, Watt fans. It's just another game until Teflon Dawn. Steelers 2, Buffalo 2. Be safe and have a blessed Thanksgiving. And yes, I say Teflon Dawn sucks. That's right. It is Thanksgiving week, guys. We will be here all the way up until Thursday, and then we'll be back on Friday as well. So just only missing Thursday this week, guys, as we get prepared for Buffalo. There's no time to take off. So I told Mike we were going to come Wednesday or Thursday. He has to cook. So I said, you know what? There's just so much football. Let's take Thursday off, and we'll be back Friday to get ready. Again, Black Friday game, 3 games Thanksgiving, all the games throughout the weekend. So we're not going to miss a beat. So we hope to see everybody all week long as we do continue into the Steelers season, guys, trying to make our way to January. Tyrone says my nephew's 10, so he was my nephew's 10, so he was one last playoff win. Okay, for sure, man, was born. Got you. Dude, it's crazy. Again, nobody's ever experienced this. Not in the Super Bowl era. This is the longest time the Steelers went without winning a playoff game in the Super Bowl area. So it's not you, it's not me, it is what it is. We're all feeling it right now, And we do know how they feel in the late 80s, and they felt in the late 80s, because this is exactly how it felt under the Chuck Noll stale era. So, it's just where we're at, guys. I do want to say a couple things before we we do shut down for today. If you haven't had a chance, swing by any of our social media, guys. Hit the follow, hit the like, any of those things. Keep up with what the Two Dumb Yinzers are up to on a day-to-day basis. We're on Facebook. We're on X, formerly known as Twitter, Instagram, Threads, and even TikTok. That's right, TikTok. Swing over, hit that follow button. If you haven't had a chance yet, hit the like button below. Hit the sub if you haven't. Share and even comment if you will. It helps out in your algorithm. We appreciate all that. Thank you so much. And finally, if you want to get ready for this week, guys, you're probably going to need to crack into the Duquesne Pilsner. The guys over Duquesne Pilsner, they never let us down, always including us in all their promotions, and we are forever grateful for the guys making the beer right here in Pittsburgh. Make sure you go out and get yourself a case of Duquesne Pilsner for this game's all the games this weekend, guys, as we do have games all through the weekend starting on Thursday. Stop by, get yourself some Duquesne Pilsner. Really good stuff. We always have it here at the at the studio. It says right on the can, guys, grab a Duke. So do so. Tortillas says we're going down with the ship. Bingo says poor bastard. All he knows is lifetime of mediocrity and suck. Talking about the nephew, I think. Going back in the comments. What else? What am I missing, guys? Am I missing anything? I do want to say that we'll be back tomorrow at our regular time to do it all over again. Again, we're going to put this Bears game behind us and start getting ready for Buffalo. This is not going to be an easy one, but as weird as this season has gone, a lot of teams losing games you wouldn't have thought, winning games you shouldn't have thought. Indianapolis Colts, one of the best teams, all kind of crazy thing. Kansas City, not a good team. So we're going to figure out if it's even possible to make this a football game this coming Sunday. I think that it is, but it's going to take a lot for these Steelers against this Buffalo Bills team come Sunday afternoon on the North Shore, when Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills come down to Pittsburgh to play this Week 13 matchup, guys. Steelers are 4.5 point home dogs as we speak, right out the cut. 4.5 point underdogs. Mike Tomlin conference will be on tomorrow, so do join us. We will have the updates live, real time, going across the bottom of the screen as Coach T does release any kind of important information or any information of relevance. Other than that, everybody, I do want to say thank you so much. We 100% appreciated, guys. We wouldn't do it without you. I want to say thank you to the board. You guys are always amazing and always keep things interesting on the show. The lifeblood of the show. I always say it. And everybody at home or in the gym or at work or with earbuds or wherever the case may be, thank you too, guys. You are the ones that make this possible. Vingo says we're a trap team, like an Asian in a skirt. Tyrone, yeah, can't wait to blame others we saved. Guys, again, thank you so much. I want to say we'll be back tomorrow at our regular time to do it all over again. We hope that everybody can get in tomorrow with us as well as we do move toward this Buffalo game. And it is Thanksgiving week. We'll have a few surprises over the next couple games as well. So we hope to see everybody then. I feel like I'm forgetting something, but you know what? We're just going to roll with it and wrap it up, guys, as this is the end of the show. Again, thank you so much for coming and hanging out. Hope to see everybody tomorrow. Hope we was able to talk people down off the ledge. I know that's the case sometimes after a bad game, but guys, thank you so much one more time for everybody and everybody involved. Thank you so much. See you tomorrow. For Mike, the executive producer, for myself, Two Dumb Yinzers, guys. Everyone have a great Monday. Enjoy Monday Night Football. Get them CBS pick'ems in. Don't forget, you don't want to lose because of that by forgetting. Have a great Monday. Stay safe. We'll see everybody tomorrow. Bye-bye.